We begin this broadcast by acknowledging the traditional custodians of the land on which this match will be played today and pay our respects to their elders past, present and emerging. We extend that respect to Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples listening.
And the moment of truth has arrived.
If you think you have anything other than a split second in this game right now, you're kidding yourself.
He's all to play for.
Every single bloke has stood up.
They are leaving nothing out there.
I wouldn't want to be anywhere else on earth.
Welcome to ABC Sports coverage of the 2024 AFL Premiership season.
From 55, side-bottom, launches, goal! The Crows Magpies are on top of the AFL world. They win a spellbinding game of footy. God, what a practice!
This is ABC Sport.
The umpire holds the footy up.
You want your very best players having the ball in the moments that matter.
Take your moment. This is that moment.
Something's in the air. Listen to the roar.
Feel a different energy. The pressure's certainly gone up.
Feel it on your skin.
Punches the air with the right hand.
Feel the electricity.
That's why we love football.
Brilliant to watch. Stand by. The arms are outstretched as he pumps his chest out.
Fill your lungs, fill your lungs. Are you ready for it?
Wherever you are, do not move.
We're going the full journey.
'Cause here it comes, here it comes.
This is the 2024 AFL Premiership season.
From outside 50, goes bang with everything he's got.
Former bad boy looking to redeem himself with kicks like that.
Something big is coming, something big is coming.
One step nonchalant banana finish. Wow. Charlie Cameron snaps. Goal.
Something big is coming.
Hey Siri, play John Denver.
AFL.
From deep in the pocket. Oh, that is amazing.
Fill your lungs. Are you ready for it?
This guy wants it at home on the biggest stage.
And Gordon can finish from 35. Oh, Errol.
It's there.
Superb finish.
What a hanger.
He joins the party.
Works through the goal. Oh, what a moment.
Brilliant, wasn't it?
There's nothing this man can't do. Rioli with some magic. The check side finish. He seizes the moment. Stolen. Snapped it. Over his shoulder. He's kicked an absolute ripper.
Spins around and buries it.
Lightning speed Bobby Hill. He's Bobby Thrill.
This is just football at its best.
Weaves around an opponent and gets a brilliant goal. Gathers. Snaps. He'll bring the house down. Time to steady. And pull the trigger. Right foot drop punt is pure. We're not done yet.
The 2024 AFL Premiership season on radio, Sport Digital, and take us with you on the ABC Listener. Just look for the AFL button.
Something big is coming, I know.
Win and win well in that order. That's the equation for the Hollywood Hawks today against Richmond. The Tigers could still yet avoid the wooden spoon if that's any motivation for them. Welcome to the cradle of football, the MCG. Ben Cameron in commentary alongside Joel Peterson to call all of the action. The coaching games record holder Mick Malthouse, Lauren Borden between the benches, and no late changes for either of these two teams. The subs, Luke Bruce for the Hawks and Camden McIntosh for Richmond. Great to have you with us here on Sunday Footy on ABC Sport. Round 23, once the last round of the AFL season. Now the penultimate round. Joel Peterson, you're back from Yakandanda. Great to see you here on ABC Sport on a Sunday.
G'day, Betty. Good to be with you. Yes, spent a day at the country footy yesterday up in Victoria's northeast. I was at Sandy Creek, which they call the MCG of the bush, and now I'm just at the MCG. Glorious day here. Another big Hawks crowd ready to get sets, and haven't they been exciting over the last little while, but these banana peels, they just keep being dropped in front of these teams. Is there another one for them today?
Dare I say it, it's a little bit like Mario Kart back in the day, Joel, where you'd spit those out the back of your Mario Kart, Mick, and your opponents would just skid when they hit them. What are you expecting here today? Will the Hawks win and win well?
I'm expecting something similar to what I'm watching at the moment with the Dogs and North Melbourne, that it's at the end of the season. It's probably been the longest season ever. Teams that are near or on the bottom are really struggling for motivation. Players who remotely look like they need a bit of a breather are now being taken out, and what's left is a skeleton of a side with no hope of anything but finishing the bottom 2 or 3. And I'm expecting that Hawthorn were going to be one of those sides pre-season, one of those sides at round 5. They were zipping 5, and they got their act together, and now they find themselves in the 8. Their own destiny controls what takes place today and next week. And I'm expecting Hawthorn to have a similar impact of what I'm watching at the Docklands game, because I reckon they're setting themselves up for their final series.
It's been a remarkable season for the Hawks. So spent 9 rounds in the bottom 4. They would be just the second team in the last 60 years to play finals after spending 9 weeks in the bottom 4. So they are trying to do something that hasn't been done all that often. The Tigers just bursting their way out onto the MCG wearing their yellow and black, the yellow sash with the white shorts, an away game for them today. If we do look at the ladder and all of the machinations, which, if you do the ladder predictor, you change one game and the whole 8 changes. So it's quite incredible. But Hawthorn are 8th at the moment. They have 48 points and a percentage of 108.5. Now, that is just ahead of Carlton, who also have 48 points, a percentage that is 1.1 less. So,
Benny, can I just jump in there? Because I cannot find it, but I know you'll have it there. Points for and points against. Roughly, what's the difference between the teams at the moment? Because the Dogs are doing a job on North. So they've effectively 70, let's call it 70 points. So it's going to take a massive win of some description at the last round for someone level on points to actually get there. And I'm referring here to basically Carlton, Dogs and Hawthorn, who today can force Fremantle out of the 8. Yeah, right?
Fremantle look like the most at risk, don't they?
Vulnerable at the moment, but what's the difference between those points for and against for those 3 sides?
Yeah, so, the Bulldogs have a percentage of 118.5 as it stands at the moment.
And the gap for points, but what's the points difference roughly? Is it a couple of hundred?
Yeah, 300 roughly right. For the Bulldogs, and extending out on the back of their performance today. For the Hawks, it's 140 coming into today.
Right.
And then for Carlton, it is 140 odd for them as well.
140. So, and we'll go one further. I think Collingwood, because of 2 draws, what's their...
Remarkably, it's 2 points difference. So that's how even money the Hawks have been. The Pies have been. Their percentage is 100.1, and that's because they've only got 2 points more for than against this season.
So, right. So that's why we're seeing teams put the foot on the accelerator.
Yeah.
Dogs yes, I said that about 70 plus. Hawthorn, that's why I don't think there'll be any mercy today.
No, and that's why I set it up like it's win and win well. So they need to win first of all. Make sure you win.
Yep.
But if you get a chance where you have the foot on the throat, then you cannot take it off today, because that percentage could be so important for them with Carlton.
Well, and the Bulldogs are up to 122.7 in terms of percentage as it stands at the moment with this result over North Melbourne.
Well, that's one of the highest percentages in the league. So they've had that all year. They've been a side that can actually demolish.
They actually have the highest at the moment, 123 it's gone to, so the Bulldogs would have
gone in front.
The second best percentage in the competition behind only the Swans.
It was interesting, Malcolm Blight used to always tell me, Mick, that he was a true believer in percentage being a really strong indicator of how well a team is going.
I agree.
You agree?
Yeah, totally agree.
Why is that?
Well, I think it demonstrates that you are getting less belted and more beltings that you give. And I don't mean that nastily. It's just simple fact is, and that's why I thought Essendon, right through the year, under 100%, even when they were second on the ladder, was the biggest concern there was they lost, and they lost badly, and they won, and they maybe just skipped oversides. So there's an art in really putting distance between you and your opponent, and the art is not giving up at any stage, and that builds your percentage over time. This big thing about what the Dogs have done today, that's only one day, but if you go over the year, we've already said that they're second highest. That doesn't materialise from today. It materialises over the journey. So the Dogs, you say, well, if they're outside of the fact that they've been beaten once or twice heavily, most of their wins have been pretty comfortable, and that is an art.
Jumping over and talking a little more about the Hawks' season overall, Mick. To come from zip 5, I mean, you would have had poor starts to a season. How hard is it to turn it around in season? How impressive is it what they've done?
Oh, it's outstanding. It's outstanding. Look, I had them at bottom 4 at beginning of the year. I had them certainly had them bottom 4 at zip and 5. And even when they start to come back, look, I can't. I'll tell you how good I went to my Collingwood in my first year. Took over a club that was bottom. We won our first 5 games.
Oh,
guess what happened therein? We lost the next 9. Ben, that brought back us. We come back into reality. No, we were 2 in a draw with a lot of pressure on us. Then we went on and made the grand final. So I can, and that was West Coast and Collingwood. But I don't know whether I've come back from this sort of thing. Again, in 2002 we lost, I think, 3 of the last 4, which dropped us into 4th spot, and we were able to beat Port Adelaide. But this is quite remarkable, because the more remarkable about it is this, that they had the same side round 1 through to round 5. It's just that they started to settle a little bit in different positions. They were able to get some of these young players with the confidence required to play in the middle, and they've alternated their rucks to find out which one was the best. And I still say that Reeves is a great ruckman, but he's been kept out.
I think they got one player back, and he might be the straw that stirs the drink for them. Will Day.
Yes. But where I'm coming from, one player's not going to do it.
No, I agree.
It's got to be a collective. Will Day's a fantastic player, and the thing is about the Hawks, this is an aggressive side. This is not a side. I like to see sides play finals football in July, August, and not wait till September to play finals football. Hawthorn play finals type footy because they're unrelenting, and they're prepared to tag, which you've got to do through the final series. They're prepared to get their hands dirty, which you've got to do because it becomes a close, mainly in finals. It is a very brutal game. Hawthorn play brutal football. That's why I would be really worried about playing Hawthorn. Let's say they make it, which they should. I'd be really worried about playing Hawthorn first week.
Wow.
And they'll finish in the bottom 4 of the 8. They're going to eliminate a side that's probably pretty good.
What about the coaching performance overall this year from Sam Mitchell? Because I was in Perth in 2018 when the Eagles won. He was an assistant coach there 1 year out of the game, and the players that were a part of that Eagles team were so big on his coaching future at the time and the influence he had on that group with the midfield. What do you see of Sam Mitchell as a senior coach?
Well, I'm going to make an apology here. I look at players that play good football and brilliant football as a player, and sometimes they don't get how other players can't be brilliant like them. Because, well, why can't you kick the ball left and right side? Yeah, that's right. Well, it didn't come easy for Mitchell. That's one of his hallmarks, was the fact that he didn't get drafted first up. He had to demonstrate that a squat player, not overly quick, could play AFL football. Well, he demonstrated he could, and not only that he was good enough to be the best in the competition and played in several premierships. That was the worry I saw, but when you go back and see how hard it was for him to make it, he's obviously got empathy for players who might sit out, one back, and knows how to draw them in. So it's a magnificent effort. Make no mistake about that.
There's lots of theories around this, Joel, which I know you'll love. I mean, how many great players have actually made really great coaches in our game and been successful? I mean, Lee Matthews is the obvious one, but generally the great coaches tend to be back pockets.
What are you saying?
I know you.
No, well, let's look at Alan Jeans.
They have to paint the edges, don't they? So they have to work out the game in a way that maybe champions don't, which I think gives them a greater understanding of the game, perhaps.
Well, I can only talk about coaches that I've had. And Alan Jeans was lucky to play 60 games. And for all intents and purposes, when you look at St Kilda and Hawthorn, the number of premierships he won, Tommy Hafey at Richmond probably may have played less. Let's say 50, 60 games. I'm not sure. But had an understanding, and he went back to the bush and understood about that. Two of the great coaches. You can't be more blessed than that as a player to get Jeans and Hafey. And then I had three former players then coach. But if you go back through David Parkin, David Parkin, back pocket, wonderful player as much as he wasn't forward of the football. There's going to be players who are exceptional coaches that were in different positions. Ron Barassi. Different position, played what the old term was, ruck rover. So he was up around where the ball was. Brilliant mind of coaches in those days. And no doubt they would all adjust to whatever happens in front of them. In fact, I'm not sure that the game today is the way you use 400 possessions to kick 5 or 6 goals. It's just bizarre. But anyway, we'll come back to that. Kevin Sheedy, back pocket.
Yeah.
Robbie Wall's a very successful coach, but he played in a volatile position, centre forward, with Ruckman dropping back on him, getting whacked behind the ear and all sorts of stuff. Had to make his way, and he did it hard at Brisbane, Fitzroy, Carlton, won a premiership, got Fitzroy a number of years in. So there are coaches come in all sorts of sizes, positions, and that sort of stuff.
But do you think that helped you as a coach and helps coaches when perhaps they're not the most gifted natural superstar, that they have to paint the edges and work out the game between the ears a little more, even when they're playing?
There's 2 things you have to work out, Ben. One is the game, but more importantly, one is people.
Yeah.
You've got to find out what makes these people tick and appeal to them. It's no use pointing out every bad area of your game. You end up walking away thinking, oh, yeah, I'm no good. You've got to say, well, look, it's the old tick situation. If you can just place all those kids out there, or anyway, people out there, just have a look what a tick looks like. A tick as in, you're right, son, you've got that right. So if we go to the first part of that tick on the left-hand side, that's the mistake. And it's no harm in giving a kick in the butt that bounces them off the bottom, which is the bottom of but then halfway up the next stroke has got to be method. Got to be, but if you do this will take place. He goes out there and plays like that. That's the tick. All of a sudden, instead of facing down, he's facing up, going, oh, right, okay, I made a mistake, but this is what the coach wants me to do. I'm going to listen to him. And so straight away you're giving someone an opportunity to go forward as opposed to being stuck in the mire.
And I reckon that's what Sam Mitchell's done in a really interesting way. You think of his character, he was such a serious operator, and his team doesn't seem like they're exuberant, they're young. He's been able to harness the fun that they have as a team, build that connection, build that synergy in a really meaningful way, even though it comes up on social media with all the celebrations and that kind of thing. But it doesn't seem like it fits his personality. Clearly there's an element of him realising that he's good for the group. He'll give him a whack. Jack Scrimshaw's a great example earlier this season. He has the ability to go, no, that's not how we do it. But then when the moment is there to be enjoyed, he's able to take a back seat and let his players go out and do it.
Well, that's right. And he's prepared to let personalities emerge as well without smashing them.
Yeah.
I would question Sicily time and time again, but that's his method of getting the best out of himself. He can let himself down once or twice a game or once or twice a month, but he holds up and his players are prepared to back him up. Then you go through the young player on the half-forward flank. What's his name?
Ginnivan?
No.
Not Chol.
He's a small player. What's his
McDonald?
Watson. Young Watson. He was going through the list.
Few options.
He expresses himself. He's cheeky. Yep. I reckon he'd get the first boot in the bum if he tries to be smart without effort. If he gives the effort and it comes off, then you can be smart.
Which I think,
and that's him.
I think was an underrated part of your coaching career, speaking to Dane Swan, etc. That you would accept the personalities as long as you did everything you needed to with the effort, etc. Let's bring in the fourth member of our team between the benches, Lauren Borden. G'day, Loz.
Hello, Ben. It's great to be down here. It's absolutely spectacular conditions. A really lovely Sunday arvo in August to be here for this match. Last time these two teams played here, there was 92,000 in attendance, and that was all for Dustin Martin. Just one man that most people were here to see. You get the feeling that everyone today here is on the other side, and they're here for the Hawks. So Hawthorn's been averaging about 50,000 at their home games this year. They should get just above that. So a pretty good crowd already coming in. It's very loud. Everyone's here just hoping they can get to finals. It's road safety round as well. So there's plenty of activations and sirens and alarms outside the ground coming in. As you mentioned, the subs, it's Luke Bruce and Camden McIntosh there for their respective sides. So a couple of veterans will sit on the bench. It was James Sisley as well who won the toss, and the Hawks will kick to the city end of the MCG to start.
The players just moving into position. A decent Sunday afternoon crowd in attendance here at our Cathedral to football. The equation is simple for Hawthorn. They need to win and show no mercy to the bottom of the ladder, Richmond, and run up a score and their percentage to get you underway on Sunday footy on ABC Sport. Here with Joel Peterson.
Just about the hottest team in the competition. What have the Tigers got in store for them this afternoon? Nankervis and Meek in the middle. Day with the opening clearance for the Hawks.
Newcomb tries to weave his way through the traffic. Handball to Amon. Kick from the back edge of the centre circles. Long inside the 50. Deer brought it down, but it's in Tigers' hands through Broad. Nervous kick toward Banks. Bounces away from him. The 100-gamer Harry Morrison's run down in a strong tackle. He's opposite number 1. Floston sits on top of him. And we will have a ball up right forward pocket. As Benny mentioned, no late ins. So Harry Morrison was the late in last week. And he's just in the 22 this week for game 100.
Up it goes, slapping it down is the Tigers through Nankervis. Kick into the middle of the ground, one there by the Hawks. D'Ambrosio, handball away to Amon. He'll kick inside, attacking 50. Bouncing ball here, Deer able to get a handball away, misses Moore. Allows in Broad. Broad tries to pick it up, he's under pressure quickly. Wrapped up in the tackle by Deer. And we'll get a ball up, left half forward for the Hawks. No scorers yet. We've played the opening minute. Sunday footy on ABC Sport.
2/3 of the ground in shade, and the most corner up toward the punt road end is still in the sunshine here at the MCG. Kick across the centre corridor, bounces its way to Mansell. He lost Impey, he bursts away for the Tigers inside the 50, eyes the sticks and drills the opener. Ryan Mansell looking like Nigel as he raced away inside forward 50. And Richmond get the opening goal here at the MCG. 1 straight 6. The Hawks yet to score through a minute and a half.
Yeah, it's interesting just watching the first part of that play. The Hawthorn were quite prepared to drop a player back from that stoppage. And it looks like they were going to run with the one-on-one plus the spare player, go to the stoppage. Richmond have the one at the stoppage. But when that play evolved, all of a sudden each player, each position had one-on-one. So once the Richmond player broke the first tackle, he had nothing in front of him to worry about. So that dropping off that loose player has probably cost Hawthorn that goal. It was a very good goal, though.
Been good for a goal a game this year. Nankervis winning the tap down. Onto it quickly though. Warple for the Hawks. Gives it off to D'Ambrosio on the logo. Kick to half forward. Ginnivan gathers in the pocket. Handball to Chol. Slaps it on back to Ginnivan. Stripped of it. Richmond are there. Picking it up, Rioli gets rid of it to Trezise, who gives it off to Prestia. Handball to Rioli now, Ralph Smith running it down the wing. He'll kick forward of it, overshoots Bolter. Might allow in the Hawks.
Weddle, so good last week. Uses his dash, collects it half back, skips away, kick into the centre's an aggressive one and a good one. Finds Day just in front of halfway, shields his eyes from the sun. Pokes it to half forward. Couple of options out there. Warple drops it inside the 50. He's looking for Gunston, who had plenty of the footy in that area of the ground that Mark Murphy described last week as the car park in that left forward pocket. It'll be tossed back in. 3 minutes gone, opening term. Tigers on the board, 1 straight. Hawks yet to score.
Umpire brings it in. Meek and Nankervis. Meek tapping it down. Hopper gathers it. Off towards Prestia. His handball looking for Miller. Has to gather it now under the pump. Wrapped up in a tackle, holding the ball. Newcomb's pinged him. Yeah. Good tackle, and we'll go back from directly in front, 40 out. Yeah,
the umpires have made it easy for themselves here. If you pick the football up and remotely think about one step or a hand pass or kick, and it gets, even if it gets your arm hit and the ball hits the ground, I'm not sure that is the free kick, but that's the way they've interpreted it over the last month. Most players understand it, and as a consequence, you've got to make sure you dispose of the ball correctly.
Looks like a new man. Fresh trim, set shot, 40 out, straight through the middle. The Hawks take flight. On a sunny Sunday at the G, 1 straight 6 apiece, 4 minutes played. Sunday footy here on ABC Sport. Our expert, the coaching icon, Mick Malthouse.
Well, it's interesting. That ball came out of the Richmond backline earlier, and we'll say it was a missed kick. I reckon it was Bolter getting too far into the ball and a mislead, a misjump, a misinterpretation of where that ball was going to go, more so than the kicker. So by that one mistake and then gobbled up by the Hawks defence and rushed forward, even then the Richmond backs were able to get their hands on it, but as we just noted, it was a free kick for incorrect disposal and finished off by Newcomb beautifully. So a mistake at one end and probably will make a mistake at both ends, cost a goal.
What a force he's become, John Newcomb. 3rd most games of anyone taken out of the mid-season draft, behind only Noble And Pickett, he kicks the Hawks inside forward 50 here, but a nice mark taken by Jacob Blight, one of 3 inclusions for Richmond, had 32 in the VFL last week, not his best disposal. And Newcombe was right in there to apply some pressure immediately on Hopper.
Trying to kick it a bit like Malcolm.
Picks himself up. He could have done with the 70-metre torpedo, I reckon, Mick, instead of the stab pass inside the defensive 50.
Certainly could have.
Rioli outside the defensive 50. Nice mark taken by Bauer, who juggles it over the top of Sicily. Broadcast side wing. Flares it out to left half forward. Oh, a little awkward moment there for Mansell. Regains his footing, comes back inboard.
Tell you what, Malcolm would be happy with the shout-out already in these games, or the shout-outs, I should say. Already had a couple. Rioli on the logo. Goes long into the pocket for Richmond. Bolter launching in front. Scrimshaw, good grab. Standing in front, he's played on. He's caught holding the ball at
that's
50.
bad umpiring. Bad umpiring. Shocking umpiring.
Umpire Lee Fisher.
He played on and then realised who he was playing on to wasn't ready. Bad luck. He made the move.
He gets away with one there. Moves it on towards Newcombe. Chips into the pocket. Moore drops it. Time to recover. Banana from the outside of the boot. And brilliant. Moorish. Delicious from the pocket. 2 straight 12 plays, 1 straight 6. 7 minutes played opening term. Sunday footy on ABC Sport.
So we've got a penalty there by the umpire not calling play on quick enough. Now, by the letter of the rule, he's got to call play on. But the player, everyone knows, played on. The player who had the football knew he played on. The only bloke that was disappointed was the tackler. And you get a 50-metre penalty play on from that. And Moore, Dylan Moore is one of those players, don't give the ball to him anywhere near 30 metres, because it doesn't matter what angle he's on, he will find the centre of the goal.
Is he All-Australian?
He's well, the way Hawthorn, sometimes these marry up to where the sides are heading. The way they're heading, yes, he is. Absolutely.
Just on that decision as well, I mean, I don't want to single him out, but Lee Fisher, former player, you would think he might have had
He would have been around when that rule was put on, that stand and all that sort of rubbish.
Another clearance. Newcombe to Nash. Deep forward. Gunston's just lurking back there. It's rushed across for a minor score. The only thing that got him out of trouble was that he probably just wasn't quick enough to get the whistle. He must have thought they played on as well. He just wasn't quick enough with the whistle. 7-point lead to the Hawks. 7.5 gone opening
He
term.
still could have paid it though, Joel.
Yep.
I don't want to harp on this, but he still could have gone, no, you've had a chance, Sunshine. You're out.
in the back pocket.
I don't know if he would have said Sunshine.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, Mick. The kick up towards the wing, dropped by Warple. Now loose footy on the wing, going in Nash. He's tackled quickly. And a ball up.
Yes, that's his nickname.
Like, remember the Titans. 8 minutes played in this opening term. 2-1-13 plays 1 straight 6. Hawthorn by 7 points.
Should be more of it though. Sunshine, underused nickname. Rioli dragged off it by Moore, picked up by Sicily. Handball taken by Prestia. Now Bauer across half back. Awkward kick. He floats it wide. Mansell gives chase, so too does Campbell. The latter picks it up. The Tasmanian comes back inboard. Spearing kick to Prestia. Sicily slipped over near that contest. Prestia's kick up the line, knocked down by Nash. Spills to Warple, away to Scrimshaw. Flares the kick to left half forward and more. Marks 52 metres out. McDonald runs past. He's got options everywhere inside the 50. Kicks to the car park for Gunston. Deep in the left forward pocket, 15 metres from home. Jack Gunston's latched onto it. And he'll have what is for him normally a pretty rudimentary shot.
Yeah, just real quick movement. Catches back lines out. Can't believe size it goes slow. Hawthorn don't go slow.
Around the body, Jack Gunston. He's done it plenty of times before with just that result. 3 in a row for the Hawks, who have really started to rev their engine after Richmond got the first of the game. 3-1-19. Richmond 1 straight 6. Haven't even travelled 10 minutes yet in the opening term. Mick Malthouse on ABC Sport.
5 inside 50s for 3 goals won. They're the danger signs. If it's okay to say the number of times that the ball penetrates 50, but it's the other side of the equation is how many times do you score from that? 5 times in and 4 scoring shots. You're going at 80%. That's nonsense. And the Tigers have gone in 6 times, if I'm reading this right. 6 times. I think it is, or is that 8-2? No, sorry, it's 8-2. So 8-2. So they've gone 50%. Nonetheless, it is far too many allowances to let the opposition score.
Restart back in the middle, going in at ground level. Newcomb won't come out. We'll get another ball up. Great to have you with us here on Sunday Footy on ABC Sport. Tap down quickly by the Tigers. Away they come through Ralph Smith. Handball to Prestia. Handball to the outside. Running by Hopper. Looking inside 50. Stabs it short through the hands of Taranto. Can't mark. Frost attacks it. Big Meek picks it up. And Hawthorn, away they go off half-back through McDonald.
Big concern for Will Day here too, clutching the right shoulder as he comes off the ground. We'll get Lauren to keep an eye on that. Hawks at right half forward. Ginnivan's got it in front of the members. Oh, he fumbled the bounce. He absolutely spent it before he had it.
I'm going to say something now about Bolter. I've watched him now over the last 5 or 6 weeks. He's a sookie lala. If it doesn't hit him on the chest, he won't chase. He bags his teammates in front of him. He's got to grow up, this kid. If he wants to make it and get his teammates to love him, take your medicine yourself.
He's going to have to be a big part of their future as well. Ball in after the Ginnivan fumble. Right half forward for Hawthorn. Amon puts the step on. Unloads from 50. Carl Amon with an absolute cannon. Hawthorn have got 4 in a row. 29 tomorrow, Carl Amon, and he delivers himself an early birthday present. 4-1-25 to Richmond, 1 straight 6. And that was a sweet strike off the left boot of Carl Amon.
Yeah, he is a beautiful user of the football. It's interesting when wingers and halfback find themselves sort of drifting to that 60, 70 metres out from goal, and they're prepared to go the next 5 or 6 metres. And if they've got no one in front of them, they should have that right to knock them over, because if you can kick the football like they do, those halfbacks, those wingers, you've just got to let them go. That's a beautiful finish.
Feels very Hawthorn, doesn't he, Mick? Left footer, beautiful kick.
Yep, does.
Right throughout their golden era with those 4 flags. Restart in the middle, trying to pick it up is Warple. Gets it off to Nash, gets it back. Handball, a turnover. Running away with it, Ralph Smith for Richmond. Kicks inside 50. Frost brings it down, comes away with it for Hawthorn. Handball beyond defensive 50. Out towards Harry Morrison, game 100. Handball back to Amon. Amon will kick around the wing for the Hawks. Moore and Broad, they wrestle after it. In a grapple, now at ground level. Ball, they pile in. And we'll get a ball up. Great southern stand wing, Lauren Borden, very quickly. What did you see with Will Day?
It does look pretty concerning for him. The doctor ran straight out to him in the centre of the ground. He's gone down to the rooms holding his right wrist or collarbone, and at the moment Luke Bruce is warming up for Hawthorn.
Sam Mitchell said he was subbed out last week because they just wanted to keep him fresh and out of trouble, and that's certainly not what the case is here. Deep entry for the Hawks through the hands of Gunston. He slips the handball to Moore. More of that from Dylan Moore. That's what the Hawthorn fans will want. He's got 2 in the opening term, and the Hawks have got 5 in 13 minutes.
That's the danger.
25-point margin now. 5-1-31 to 1 straight 6. He's so crafty in front of the sticks, Mick.
Well, that's what I say. If he lays on, if he is able to get a clean ball, no matter where he is in that front 50, he just knows, not one, where the goals are, 2, how to put it through. He is so dangerous. I remember probably 3 years ago, and he just kept on popping up, and people going, well, who is this kid? And, you know, like he only gets 5 or 6 possessions, but he kicked a couple of goals. Now he's getting a lot more possessions. He comes a lot more outside 50. Inside 50 is so dangerous. The alarm bells are singing or ringing right now. This is where Richmond have got to go one-on-one, and I hope you noticed that bit of passage of play by Bolter again. It's absolutely dreadful.
Here we go out of the middle again. D'Ambrosio delivers onto the chest of Moore, swings around and hits Gunston on his chest. He marks 35 out, slightest of angles to the right, and he will have a look at his second.
This is going the same way as the other game.
Gunston on his way in, usually reliable, slots it. The route is on. He's got a couple, and the Hawks have 6 inside a quarter hour. 6-1-37, plays 1 straight 6 on Sunday Footy on ABC Sport. Mick Malthouse, what can you do if you're Adam Uzo right now?
Well, I'm going to have bitch about the rules. 6-6-6. He can't get anyone behind the goals, behind the line. So you've got to at least get your winger sitting back on the corner of the 50 of the centre square, so he can get in and cover any as a defensive winger. Go one-on-one and see if you can make it a trench warfare game, because at the moment it is open and Hawthorn are slaughtering him when the ball falls. There it is again. It's just going to fall and they're going to run the ball out again.
Meek wins it down decisively. Warple now bursting through for another for Hawthorn. Even by their lofty standards, this is quite something. 7 on the bounce for the Hawks in 14 minutes of footy. Richmond kicked the opening goal. It's been all Hawthorn since. And in 15 and a half minutes, they've got their best opening term of the season. 7-1-43. The Tigers won straight 6 before more from Mick Malthouse. Let's head downstairs to Lauren Borden.
Thanks, Joel. Looks like Luke Bruce will be coming on as the sub for Hawthorn. He's taken off his jumper. He's ready to go on. So Will Day hasn't emerged from the rooms when he was clutching his right wrist, right collarbone area. And the Hawthorn medical doctor has come out and actually got the AFL doctor that sits behind the bench to come down and help him out down in the room. So Will Day still down there and Luke Bruce about to come on for Hawthorn.
That's no good.
What a start, but at what cost at the moment? Nankervis winning the tap, straight down to Ross. He fumbles it, spits out towards the wing. Morrison can't pick it up, goes in again, gathers it now. Off to Warple, kicks the Hawks to half forward, bouncing ball. The Tigers are there, Trezise able to get a handball away. Off the Broad, he kicks out to the southern wing. Bouncing ball, it will tumble towards the line. Ralph Smith carries it out. And a throw-in to come. So, gee whiz, this has been something to behold. In 11 minutes of play, they have piled on 7 goals. The Hawks, they lead by 37 points.
And only 55 possessions to get them. That's the danger, Ben. It's been so easy. There's not a lot of fight in the Tigers at the moment. Not only not a lot of fight, when the ball spreads, Hawthorn are just murdering them and finding open spaces. There hasn't been a goal that's been hard fought. They've all been very soft goals.
And Curvis wins this contest down to Taranto. Away to Graham. Kicks the Tigers forward. Through the hands of Sicily. Scrimshaw had it cleanly. Hardwick arches the back, slips the tackle. Just behind halfway for the Hawks. Now to D'Ambrosio. Measures the kick nicely. So from 15 to 16 to 17. Hardwick, D'Ambrosio, and now Meek, who's got it at left half forward. The big fella from Streatham spins the footy in his hands. Whacks a high ball out of bounds on the full. That's about the only thing that hasn't gone Hawthorn's way so far. 18 minutes gone opening term. They lead by 37 points, having kicked 7 in a row since Richmond kicked the first in the opening minute.
There's no one on his mark. This is where use your initiative, run off, draw the man and get the ball deep to the wing and start again. That's exactly what he's done.
In the back pocket, Richmond, a long kick up towards the wing. Gathered there by Prestia. He tumbles it down that wing. Bouncing ball, Sicily tracking it back. Hawthorn in possession again. Kicks into the middle of the ground. Tumbling ball. Attacking it, Vlosten. Gathers it. Dispossessed in the tackle. Caught holding the ball. Connor McDonald's got him. And the Hawks have it again. Off to Amon, the goal kicker. Handball to Morrison. Backward of the wing here, the Hawks. Sicily in the long sleeves. Looking like Michael Tuck. He kicks up towards the wing on the half volley, gathered by Gunston. Off to Amon, dangerous kick into the middle of the ground. Ross nearly breaks it up there for Richmond. Down at ground level, Prestia wins it. Tigers back in possession in the middle.
Graham loops the handball out wide to Short. Measures the kick out nicely for Ralph Smith. 7-1 plays, 1 straight. Richmond with a goal in the opening couple of minutes through Ryan Mansell. It's been all Hawthorn since then. Couple to Moore, couple to Gunston. Great to have you with us. Sunday footy on ABC Sport at the MCG. Graham's kick down the line made Ralph Smith work, and Warple and D'Ambrosio got in to break things up. D'Ambrosio's kick to half forward. Watson used the body beautifully. Handball to his running mate in Ginnivan. Ginnivan looks up. Eyes inside 50. Finds McDonald. Terrific vision. And Connor McDonald can add his name to an ever-growing list of Hawthorn goal kickers from 40 out directly in front.
Now, they got that goal because of hard work and working together. There was nothing special about both sets of ball hit the deck, but the difference was that when the Hawthorn player picked it up, he had a a running mate next to him, and they just outworked the Tigers.
Becomes such an important part of this Hawthorn side, Connor McDonald. And he strikes the right-hand goalpost 2/3 of the way out. 38 points the margin the way of the Hawks. 20 minutes gone opening term. Let's head downstairs. Lauren Borden.
Well, with Will Day subbed off so early for Hawthorn, it's the Hawks that are saying it's a collarbone for him. So the emergency personnel for the AFL are down there helping him out as well. But given how much stronger Hawthorn looked like when Will Day came back from that the foot injury mid-season, it's a big blow for the Hawks.
Massive blow, and that will be a watch. A collarbone might not be the worst result. We'll get Dr. Mick onto it in a moment as Vlosten loops it over the top for Ross and the Tigers. Picked up though by Hardwick, gives it off away towards Newcomb, who kicks infield. Mark taken there by McKenzie. It's hard to get your head around Nuke without the long locks, Joel. I know I've been away at the Olympics and he's had that cut for a little while now, but taking some adjusting. Here goes Weddle, doing the Weddle waddle. Kicks long inside 50. Joel drops the mark. Ball hits the deck. Arriving the Tigers, they hold it up. And a ball up, 15 out from the attacking goal for the Hawks.
Certainly a different look for John Newcomb. Taking a lot off the top and the back and the sides. And Curvis against Nash in ruck. Nash was able to just fire the handball out to Morrison off a step from 45 metres out. That one floats out of bounds on the full. And it'll be a free kick on the last line for Richmond and Jacob Blight. 38-point lead to the Hawks. 7-2 plays one straight. 21.5 minutes gone in this opening term.
16-4, Joel, inside the front 50. That tells you a fair bit, but 16 doesn't paint the picture. They're so clean, Hawthorn.
Blight kicks long outside the defensive 50. Gee, Weddle absolutely tried to put his fist through it. Completely missed the footy. That surprised Bolter, who was behind the play. Hawks back in possession, and here's Chol charging up on the lead, clutching it to his chest, 45 metres out. He's completely dropped to the footy. Sort of Harry Mackay style, but Harry likes to place it on the turf. Marbiot's dropped that one from a great height as he goes back to take his set shot. Rolled a couple of metres away from him.
81 possessions to 52 tells you a fair bit about it as well.
A former Tiger. Kicked 4 against them earlier this season. 45-metre kick for Marbiot Chol. And he leans back on that and only just sneaks it in for a minus score. 39 points the margin, 7-3 to 1 straight, 22.5 gone in the opening term. Sunday footy at the MCG on ABC Sport.
And for those that are listening, just metres gained. Hawthorn have done 1,300 metres. In other words, with the ball going forward, the Tigers 750. It's probably the biggest discrepancy that I've seen for a long, long time.
Short with the kick in. Up to the wing, punched out of play, thrown on the great southern stand wing. So a collarbone injury, Mick, might not be the worst, might not be season over if they can plate it up and get it sorted.
That's right. If it is a broken collarbone, depending on how many, if it's splintered or whatever, and I'm certainly not getting into that sort of thing stuff, but if you can plate it up, and it's not as strong, clearly not as strong as it would be, but 3 weeks, two or 3 weeks.
So Lockie Fogarty was the one from last week's game that broke his collarbone in the game against Hawthorn. Carlton just ruled him out for the season. Said TBD on time, but gone for the season.
Yeah, well, they may let that set.
Was it Lim Jong as well with the in the VFL? I think he had the broken collarbone and they strapped up the opposite shoulder. Frosted fullback here for the Hawks. It's a big story, whichever way you look at it. Hawthorn leading by 39 points, piled on 7 goals in an 11-minute period, but they have lost Will Day with a broken collarbone. Could be a big issue.
And they come forward again here, Hawthorn. Chol guides his kick into the pocket beautifully for Watson. The outstretched arms of Miller were just a centimetre or 2 lower than they needed to be. And Nick Watson marks in the left forward pocket, stands side on to goal. And will go around the body here. Kicked 1-4 against the Tigers earlier in the season. No such problems on this occasion for the Wizard. He bounds away in celebration. And the Hawks have got 8 in a row. 8-3-51 in 20 minutes of footy after the Tigers kicked the first of the game. We're 24 minutes through this opening term. And the Hawks are out by 45.
That ball was being kicked in from the wing. Chol led out, had probably 30 metres on his opponent, which was Miller, who elected not to go with him. He wanted to come back and stop the next kick. Chol's kick was better, went over Miller's head. My advice to Miller is, when your man is going to be the next player used, particularly coming into 50, you come up right on his shoulder and work up the ground with him and make a contest away from the goal square.
Restart in the middle. Meek slapping it down away to Newcomb, who gives it off to McKenzie. Kicks inside 50. Mark taken by Watson. Free kick. It'll go to Richmond. He was about to bound away and kick on goal. Miller to receive it. 40 out from his defensive goal. Hawthorn by 45 points. The other game taking place today over at Docklands, the early game anyway. Bulldogs leading by 103 points, 5 minutes away from full time in that match. And whatever's left of Carlton will come up against the West Coast Eagles later today. Trezise kicks it into the man on the mark. That was Watson. He's only little. Not sure how Ginnivan tackles Trezise. And he's pinged holding the ball. 45 out, 45-degree angle.
Well, I look at Adam Uze sitting up in the box, and you just feel sorry for him because he can't control a player who slips over. He can't control where the ball's going to go. But the Hawks are they're earning these shots on goal from either very good play forward to the centre or stuff like this.
It's already their best opening term of the year by 2 goals. Ginnivan comes in, tugs his set shot. It'll go towards the point post. Punch back into play. Now Miller with it for Richmond at fullback. Handball away to Hopper. Goes for a run in the back pocket. Has to get a handball away towards Campbell. He'll go back to Broad. Really short kick. And Rioli marks in the back pocket for Richmond.
Career day for Dan Rioli. Last Sunday against the Saints, 36, 10 marks. That defence under siege again today. Campbell, who's been a really good find for Richmond this season. Kicks long. Bauer brings it down. Stays with the play. Handball up on the outer side wing to Hopper. Now to Ross. One of the 3 inclusions for Richmond. His kick smothered. Impey got Ralph Smith high. That'll be a free kick to the young Tiger. Out at right half forward. 70 metres from home underneath the Shane Warne stand. Tigers kicked the opening goal. Haven't looked like it since. Meanwhile, Hawthorn's kicked 8 goals, 3 to take a 45-point lead as now they come defensively. Blight to Miller, who's all the way back behind halfway.
Well, that ball was 50, let's say 70 out. Now it's 90 out.
Hawks by 45, short to Prestia, driving kick into the pocket here for Richmond. Pack forms, up they go, no mark taken, down at ground level. Spills out towards Newcomb, handball stolen by Bolton, zigging, zagging, trying to get it on the boot. Handball to Taranto, runs back on the right, snaps on goal, and touched on the line. We'll check it. Harry Morrison in game 100 was right there on the line. It'll be a close run thing. The way Richmond's day is going, you wouldn't expect it to be a goal.
That's Bolton's first possession. I find that intriguing. I find it disappointing. If you're getting slaughtered in the centre, put Bolton in there, leave him in there, make him want the football.
It is just touched, I reckon. There is just a little bit of the belly of the ball in line with the padding, which counts as the goal line. When Harry Morrison in game 100 got a hand on it, he is wearing the number 1 jumper. The reason he wears number 1 is actually the late Ken Judge's godson, and that was the number that Judge wore at Hawthorn, of course.
Long kick out from Sicily. Oh, Weddle marks it in stride. Sicily put it only where he could get it. Weddle handballs onto Watson. They're going to go the length of the ground here, Hawthorn. Watson's kick's an absolute worm burner inside the forward 50, and it's marked by Rioli. But gee, didn't they look dangerous? Just bursting it up the ground there, the Hawks. They did it last week, starting from a torpedo outside the defensive 50. Weddle was involved in that. They almost did it again there. They lead by 44 points as the Tigers chip it around defensively. Broad to Flostone, who's got it in the left back pocket. 29.5 gone this opening term. 8-3, plays 1-1.
Loston kicking up to the wing. Morrison comes up. Intercept marks for the Hawks.
Looked like he meant that, Benny.
Has it just forward of the wing. Kicks into the bullseye. Mark taken by Impey. He'll look out wide towards the southern wing. D'Ambrosio comes up with it. He'll chip it really short. More marks. High half forward here for the Hawks. In the bright red boots. Kicks into the pocket. Looking for Gunston. Right there with him, Miller. Miller punches it out. Throw in left forward pocket for the Hawks. They lead by 44 points. 30 minutes and change into this opening term. They've kicked the last 8 goals in the game after Richmond kicked the first, the Hawks.
And Curvis hasn't had a disposal yet. He's in ruck here. Neither's Bolter forward of the footy for the Tigers. Decisive hit out from Nankervis. Ralph Smith curls it outside the defensive 50 through the hands of Bauer. Ends up with Kajitsky down the line. Now they get something moving, Richmond. Mansell out wide to Bolton. Runs into a wall at right half forward. Spins his way away from Impey. Backtracks. Handball to Campbell. Campbell will go long inside the 50 toward Bauer, and Kajitsky stretches, can't mark the ladder. D'Ambrosio comes up with it to Amon, to McKenzie. Just waltzing around inside the defensive 50 here, the Hawks. Morrison's covered some real ground, gone short to Gunston as they continue to just methodically work it up the field, Hawthorn.
He gives it off to McKenzie, loops a handball to Sicily. He can kick out to the wing, it dribbles out there. D'Ambrosio picks it up quickly, handball to Impey. Kicks off a step, wide out, Meek, the big ruckman. He marks and stabs it short. This is like a training run at the moment. Bruce accepts it, kicks into the pocket, Ginnivan wide out, and out of bounds on the full. So an unforced error there for the sub Bruce. And the Tigers back with it in their back pocket. Sunday footy on ABC Sport. Hawthorn by 44 points.
Blight's got it for Richmond. Bashes it up the line. Centre of the southern wing. Sicily's up among the pack. Campbell takes it at their feet. Kicks down the line. Oh, Mansell collides with Impey. Good tough stuff from the both of them. Hawks come up with it through Scrimshaw. Now to Amon. Amon into the centre of the ground for Newcomb. Newcomb's got Warple running shotgun. Hands it off to Weddle. Cruising through the centre. Handball to Warple. Tries to fend off. Ross ran into trouble. Got the handball away. Collected it again, did Warple. Then he balks a tackle. Kicks inside the 50 and finds Deer.
Well, that's a free kick every day of the week against Warple.
He got given plenty of time there. Cal Shadir, meantime, will have his set shot. 40 metres out, as good as directly in front. Coming off a career best 3 goals last week. He's emerged up front for the Hawks this season as a real prospect. And after the quarter-time siren, he can give them a 9th goal and a 50-point lead heading into the open break. What a remarkable term of footy from Hawthorn. Plenty of fans came here with a lot of expectation today. And at quarter time, the Hawks lead by half a ton. 9-3-57 to Richmond 1-1-7. 2 to Gunston, 2 to Moore, Watson, Amon, Warple, Newcomb, and the latest goal kicker was Deer. For Richmond, they kicked the first of the game through Ryan Mansell 2 minutes in. They hardly saw it thereafter, Benny.
I think the Hawthorn fans at quarter time were saying Deer, and I think the Richmond fans at quarter time were saying Deer. There are a few things to work through for the Tigers. 9-3-57, I'm going to repeat it. Plays 1-1-7. They've piled on 9 goals in the opening term. It is their highest scoring quarter of the season, period, for the Hawks. We'll come back with the thoughts of Mick Malthouse to pull it all apart. This is Sunday Footy on ABC Sport.
G'day, Patrick Stack here from ABC Sport Daily. If you love sport...
Look, she's a gentle soul off the track, but she's a fierce warrior on the track. And she's always been brave, Patrick. She's always raced like a brave athlete.
And great conversation.
I have become 80% cooler in the last 30 seconds.
Then you would love ABC Sport Daily.
It took me a minute to work out that Ray Gunn is like J-Lo.
ABC Sport Daily. Get it on the ABC Listen app.
This is ABC Sports coverage of the 2024 AFL season. Every match on the ABC Listen app.
Look for the AFL button.
Right half forward for Hawthorn. Amon puts the step on. Unloads from 50. Carl Amon with an absolute cannon. Hawthorn have got 4 in a row.
the alarm bells are ringing right now. This is where Richmond have got to go one-on-one.
Meek wins it down decisively. Warple now bursting through for another for Hawthorn. Even by their lofty standards, this is quite something. 7 on the bounce for the Hawks in 14 minutes of footy.
It looks like Luke Bruce will be coming on as the sub for Hawthorn. He's taken off his jumper. He's ready to go on. So Will Day hasn't emerged from the rooms when he was clutching his wrist, right collarbone area.
Cal Shadir, meantime, will have his set shot.
He can give them a 9th goal and a 50-point lead heading into the open break.
The 2024 AFL Premiership season.
On your radio,
ABC Sport Digital.
and on the ABC Listen app.
On track to win by 200 at the moment, the Hawks. They lead by 50 points at the first break. 9-3-57, plays one straight 6. Mick Malthouse, the coaching games record holder, makes sense of it all for us.
Well, I can only make sense this way, Benny, that it's been a complete domination by a side that knows that its destiny, its finals destiny, is held in its own hands. It's playing this. It's not doing any different what it's done over the last dozen weeks, and that is played aggressive football, sharing the football. You say 9 goals, and there's 7 goal kickers. That is well spread. The midfield totally dominance. Backline, I'm going to say I like sides that have a crack and get beaten because they are not as good. Nankervis, 1 hand pass. Vlosten, 2 possessions. Shea Bolton, 2 hand passes. Bolter, who's very quick to blame teammates for an errant kick. Nothing. Has not touched the ball. They're the ones that I say are so disappointing because you've got a chance to impose yourself. There's a lot of young players, a lot of supporters, a lot of family members here today are judging the way you play a game where you are getting your backside kicked. You can easily see this. I hate saying this, but history has shown in the past that the longer the season is and you are not travelling that well and you're occupying one of the bottom spots, in this case Richmond bottom, they won't move from here, that they can't wait for the season to finish. New coach and all, most of them know they'll hang on to their jobs because there's a few retirees and that sort of stuff, so it's subconsciously they're just going through the motions. Hawthorn, they're on parade at the moment. They're doing what they can to stay in the side, to play the good footy, to set it up for their teammates, understand that I know they play the next game against North Melbourne in Launceston, but the reality is, yes, got to win 2 games, and that keeps anyone at bay. Doesn't matter who you are in ninth spot, you cannot take our position, and they're playing accordingly. And the thing is that I've really noticed is it's an unselfish game of football, and this is not just today. This has been the last, as I say, 10 to 15 weeks. They play a brand of football where they cover for one another. They get numbers. And as I said before, there was a couple of balls being kicked into their forward line, and they were not only outnumbering the Tigers, they were able to then distribute the football the way they wanted to, because Richmond's work rate, particularly through the middle, was just non-existent. And that's so sad, because you cannot, ability's one thing, work ethic's another.
Great to have Mick Malthouse with us, pulling it all apart here on Sunday Footy on ABC Sport. Lauren Borden on the boundary before the second quarter.
Thanks, Ben. Just an update on Will Day. Obviously, sustained that collarbone injury to his right side about 10 minutes into the first quarter, went straight down into the rooms and now has gone to the hospital via ambulance. So he's been packaged off and packed up and sent to the hospital just for some further scans and to find out the extent of that collarbone injury. But pretty tough for Will Day after a season that's been interrupted by injury.
Will we see him back? That'll be the interesting point. Second quarter underway. Hawthorn leading by 50 points. Ball hits the deck after both rucks touch it, and we'll go again in the middle.
That's more aggressive by Nankervis. Is it Nankervis?
Yeah. Looks a little more like he's had a fire lit beneath him, perhaps, Mick, as he taps it down to Taranto. Kicks the Tigers to half forward. Unable to gather it there, though. The Tigers arriving more, trying to get involved quickly is McDonald. He gets a handball away, but able to pick it up. Bauer there for Richmond. Gives it to Rioli. Dangerous kick. Overshoots his target, Taranto. There is Nankervis. Gives it off to Taranto. Floats it inside 50. And Bolton's bursting on the lead. He marks 45 out directly in front.
Well, that's more aggressive. The quarter's made up by 20 genuine minutes. He can take 1/60th off this, or 1/40th off this, rather. My heads aren't too good. By taking his time, setting it up. Hard work to get this football to him, Bolton. He's done nothing. This is an opportunity to get in the game.
They try and spark some life into the Tigers. His drop punt is pure. From 50. Didn't they need it? 9-3-57 the Hawks. Richmond 2-1-13. 1 minute into this second term. It ends a run of 9 consecutive Hawthorn goals, Mick Malthouse.
Yeah, well, I know one person will be very, very happy. I've got a grandson sitting out in the southern stands somewhere. One-eyed Richmond, and his key player is Bolton. He'll be coming to watch him play. That good lead up. He started very deep, ran onto that football. Hawthorn this quarter handled the football by one hand pass. This is not going to continue, but it's 8-1, and there was an aggressive Nankervis in the middle. That's what you've got to do, and do it for as long as you can, and that's what gives the public some hope.
Of course, Richmond kicked the first goal in the opening term as well. They've got the second clearance here, so some surging footy as Taranto bangs it forward, but Impey going back with the flight, having a terrific year, Jarman Impey, ABC Sports own. Hard wicket left, half back in front of the members.
They look a bit more switched on, the Tigers.
Yeah.
Another of the ABC's own, Ian Burrows, just scoots past him along the boundary line. Hardwick kicks long up toward half forward. Blight puts his fist through it, spills away to short, gets run over by Nash. Hawks back in possession. Deer, handball to Meek, handball to Bruce, kicks low into the pocket looking for Chol. But Broad had better position, read it nicely, takes the intercept mark for the Tigers, chips short to Prestia.
Prestia kicks towards centre half back, a good kick. Mark taken by Graham. Questions about his future at Richmond beyond this year. Kicks out wide to Short. Short does just that. Pokes it to Blight. On the great southern stand wing, Blight will go long towards half forward. No mark taken down at ground level. Bauer gets a handball away straight to Frost. Hawthorn come away with it off the half-back flank to Sicily. Pumped over there by Ross. And Moore will take the advantage for the Hawks.
Scoots away, kicks down the line looking for McDonald. Slipped through his hands to Gunston. Back to Moore. Tackled, caught, gone.
Yeah, much more aggressive work by the Tigers. They just look switched on at the moment. I know it's a long way from home, but this is much better. This will make Hawthorn work for their goals.
Rioli to Nankervis to Short. Bangs it inside the forward 50. Bolton gets upstairs. Can't mark. Morrison's back there for the Hawks. Scrimshaw almost got run down by Bolton. Got the handball away to Bruce. Bruce, crafty kick. He just curls it around the body to find Watson, who releases Morrison on the wing.
He chips it short. McDonald runs away with it through the logo. Kicks inside 50. Gunston goes up. Light gets back. Spoils it down. Chol will arrive. Cleverly soccers it on. Deer gives it back to Chol. Chol a little casual. Gets it on the boot. Normal transmission resumes. The Hawks with another goal and back out by 50. 10-3-63 plays 2-1-13. 4 minutes into the second. On Sunday footy on ABC Sport, Mick Malthouse.
Yeah, the passage of play was outstanding by the Hawks. Just control the football from half back right through to the half forward. Chol got involved. It's interesting watching Chol. I've watched him now 2 football clubs prior to this one. You've always got the impression he's had fantastic ability, but his work rate was off. I don't know whether the Hawks are allowing him to dictate how he wants to feel. It's about how the team feels, and his work ethic now seems to be far greater. Maybe he thinks he's on his last chance, but his follow-up there was terrific. Bulldozed his way to the goal square and was able to knock it over.
A little soccer kick through the traffic was pretty clever as well from Mabior Chol.
Might have been watching the EPL, which started last night in earnest.
Brilliant, isn't it?
Were you pleased with how that went, Benny, for Liverpool?
I was. A win over... I was certainly more pleased with the second half. The first half wasn't overly impressive, Joel.
I've got a bit of trepidation about my Blues this season, though, Penny. I don't know. It's been a wild couple of years for Chelsea, so who knows how that'll go. Oh, gee, Newcombe had his head ripped off by Nankervis. Two very tough operators. John Newcombe putting his head over the pill and maybe Nankervis making him earn that one. Oh, and that's a late hit from Graham. McKenzie coming across to Mark. Graham's collected him high, trying to spoil. And there's a little bit of push and shove. It's far from showdown-esque. But it's tense out there at the moment.
So the umpire's given the 50 metres. If that's closer to 70 than 50.
Yeah, so it's gone from right on halfway, so in line with the halfway line, to within 30 of goal. So it's a good piece of real estate that Cam McKenzie's been handed, and they continue to discuss the play-by-play in the middle of the ground.
Richmond would have been spoken to at quarter time about being a bit more aggressive.
Meantime, McKenzie from 40 metres out sinks another one for the Hawks, who are back on their merry way with back-to-back goals once more. Out to a new game high, 56-point lead, 11-3-69 to 2-1-13, 6.5 gone. Second term, here's Mick Malthouse on ABC Sport.
And Joel, you call the time, that's the 9th goal kicker. That's extraordinary. It's not been. There's no Tony Lockett out of the goal square. They used to kick 10 and 15 goals a game. This is, or I should say Jason Dunstall. That puts it in perspective.
Yeah, but you're a Ballarat boy, so immediately
yeah, that's right. Well, I was trying to.
Well, we won't hold that against you.
No, I'll put Hawthorn there for Dunstall's case. But it's an extraordinary number of goal kickers. And I think that there lies a secret too, that you're just not that reliant on any one player. I don't say this about today generally, because they do spread their goal. Well, that aggression by Richmond, it can't be huff and puff for 5 minutes. It's really got to be controlled for a full quarter. I see Bolton in the middle now. Let's see if he can clear the ball for the Tigers.
Bounce back in the middle, favours Meek. He had a hand on it, so too though did Nankervis. Comes down for Ross of Richmond. Snaps a kick inside 50, bouncing ball. Favours Prestia, handball a turnover. Hardwick pinches it. Now Hawthorn off halfback, kicks out to the wing. More strong grab. That's a good grab under pressure. Lauren Borden on the boundary quickly.
The doctor ran out to Cam McKenzie right after that whack from Graham too, checking out. He's still on the ground, but they look to be looking at the vision on the bench.
Gunston to Weddle for the Hawks. Weddle pumps them into the pocket. Deere makes some space. Can't mark. Gets it at ground level. Blight has a hold of him. Tigers back in possession. Floston back to Blight. Left foot kick. Hard up against the boundary line. It'll be picked off. Scrimshaw will have it coming back in for Hawthorn. 70 metres out. Hawks by 56. 8 gone second term.
Kicks into the middle of the ground. Mark taken by Sicily. In the long sleeve. Switches it. One edge of the square to the other. Frost takes it. He'll kick out wide. Impey. Forward of halfway on the members' side. And shift the Richmond defence across. He goes short to D'Ambrosio.
Been a good pick-up, D'Ambrosio.
Pokes it short. Newcombe comes up to mark. 55 out from goal. Looks at a congested forward 50. Gunston offers. Doesn't like that. He'll go long. Towards the hot spot. Looking for a marker. Up goes Meek. Has to spoil. Comes down Chol. Twisting, turning. Thought he was taken high. Tope pokes it away. It goes to Ross of Richmond. Under pressure in their defensive 50. Ross gets a handball away. Out to Prestia.
Prestia's tackled by Hardwick immediately. Chol comes in to provide some support. Locked up top of the 50 for Hawthorn.
Smart play by Prestia. He knew he was going to grab, so he just braced himself.
Tigers kicked the first of this second term as they did in the first. Hawks have got the next two. D'Ambrosio whacks it inside the forward 50. It bounces away and it goes out of play. It's a little bit eerie the way that things have transgressed. Richmond kicked the first goal in the second minute of the first, or the first goal in the second minute of the first quarter. They kicked the first goal in the second minute of the second quarter. Hawthorn then kicked goals in the fourth and the sixth minute of the first quarter, and they've done the same here in the second.
From the throw-in, it's dribbling towards goal here for the Hawks. Gunston able to gather it. He's dispossessed quickly. Short coming through. And he carries it over. A minor score. Lauren Borden between the benches.
Hawthorn's doctors are going to check out Cam McKenzie after he got hit high from Jack Graham, so he's just gone into the rooms with the Hawthorn doc now.
Thanks, Loz. 57 points the spread. 10 minutes gone, second term. Sunday footy on ABC Sport. Joel Peterson, Ben Cameron, Mick Malthouse, Lauren Borden with you. Clearing kick. Foston's not happy with it. Goes down the line. Frost picks it off. Comes into the corridor for Scrimshaw. Handball to Sicily, who's got time to have a fumble, and then he kicked it straight into Prestia. Ricochets away for the Tigers. Handball inside forward 50, bounces horribly for Mansell, and Frost wrapped him up in the tackle. A ball up 45 metres out from the Richmond goal.
For those that aren't here, that was a hand pass that was, all it needed to do was run on, and the Richmond player runs onto it. No, it bounces back, and he has to come back and get wrapped up by a...
Did a J-turn.
It did.
You have days like that, don't you, Mick?
You might have been.
Here you go, Hawthorn chaining handballs off halfback. I knew something like that was coming. Off to Empey, off to Gunston. Attacking edge of the square, kicks into the pocket. Here's Watson. Can he wave his wand? Zigging, zagging. He'll hook it on goal. It'll go to the goal square and be knocked through. Minor score. Chol was there. Miller was back there. 58 points. The Hawks lead by. Sunday footy on ABC Sport. Might need more of that humour, Mick, to get us through this afternoon.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough call, I think, Ben.
Kicking Jeez. It was a 10-metre kick from short, and Floston dropped it. He was good enough to go back and get it in the back pocket. Kicks a little bit more decisively up the line. Coulthard ran past it for the Tigers. He was dispossessed. Spills into Hawthorn hands. More Warple all by hand to Scrimshaw. Deft little kick into the pocket. Oh, Floston over the top of Ginnivan. Terrific mark. Got the sit. And as he fell to his back in the right back pocket, he was able to keep his eye on the footy and clutch it into his chest. And he comes to fullback for Jaden Short. Tigers down by 58 points, I should say. 12 minutes gone, second term.
This is ridiculous. This is 3 kicks across the full back line and 4. 4 marks, 4 kicks, no yards. And Hawthorn just pushing up. This is just, I guess all the best thing it's done is actually used up a couple of seconds.
Blight kicks long to the southern side of the ground, out on the wing, gathered there by Campbell. Handball away to Bauer, to Short. Now Campbell again, been a real find for Richmond this year. Handball puts a teammate Trezise under pressure. The Hawks swarm. Chol free kick. Centre half forward called to play on. He'll arc around and change his mind. Then get a handball away. Now Newcombe, 55 out from the Hawks goal. Running backwards. He'll kick laterally out towards McDonald, drops the mark. His opponent goes to ground, picks it up, hard up against the boundary line. Centering kick, Moore in good position. Moore can't mark. Deer goes in the goal square now for the Hawks. The Tigers arrive to try and fight it out. And it will come out. It's put on the boot, and Deer's popped it through. His second. We're waiting for the umpire's whistle. But Deer was playing to the whistle. They lead by 64. 12-5-77. Plays 2-1-13. 13 minutes into the second. Mick Multau Sadamuze's come down to the bench. What can you do as a coach right now? What are you doing? What are you thinking?
I'd be finding out where my car was and seeing if I can get in it and go home, because you can't believe that ball could fall in the goal square like that with 6 Richmond players around it, probably 3 Hawthorn players. It bops out. And Deer's able to get a kick away. I reckon he's looking for his car. I feel so sorry for a bloke like that, coming into his first year like this. It's probably I think it's the worst the Tigers have ever done, isn't it? It's pretty close to it. Bottom 2 wins.
Yeah, they've certainly had the wooden spoon on a few occasions.
It'll be their first wooden spoon since 2007. Would he be doubting himself, Mick? Would he be thinking, gee, am I able to do this?
He would be very aware that manpower's down, and they won their premierships, and so many of those players are no longer there, but they haven't recruited.
Ross for the Tigers, long inside the forward 50, through the hands of Sicily, comes out to Coulthard, right forward pocket, hooks it back around his body. Bolter takes the mark at the top of the goal square for Richmond, and he's 20 metres out.
Well, that's a very good kick by a young fella that could have blazed away. Had a good look. I mean, there's glory or nothing with the Tigers at the moment. Now, this is Bolter's, I don't think it's close to his first kick, but pretty close to it. He's got to finish this just to settle the nerves a little bit.
Rarely sighted so far, Noah Bolter. And he duly obliges with the finish and gets Richmond's 3rd goal of the game. 15 minutes gone in the second term. The Tigers 3-1-19 trail the Hawks by 58 points. Hawthorn 12-5-77. on ABC Sport. It is already Hawthorn's highest scoring first half of the season. They've still got maybe 15 minutes to go in this second term.
Yeah, getting back to Adam Uze, he was on a hiding to nothing when you think about it, but you don't knock back an opportunity to coach an AFL side. It's up to you now. You're bottoming them out. There's no question they'll finish bottom. There's uncertainty about a number of players. Get that out the way as quick as you possibly can. Who's going, who's not, who's on board. Draft young players in. Teach them the way you want them to play and start again.
The concern for him, I think, as well, is that he's got Benny Gale leaving. There's a little bit of a change above him, which makes it difficult as Hopper comes out of the middle. Tumbles a kick to half forward here for the Tigers. Bolton trying to burst onto it, does so well. Loops a handball, free kick, it'll come back. We'll go to Bolton. Questions about whether this man will be a Tiger beyond this year. Kick into the pocket from Bolton. Off hands, Weddle sticking up a hand, touching it out of bounds, a throw to come.
How many, Benny? How many players have they got? They've got Baker, would be one, Bolton's another one, Rioli's another.
Graham.
The list they're the mid-range players you've got to have around a football club.
All tossed back in, out of the stoppage, it's thrown on the boot, and Bolter's done a nice bit of work out of the ruck for his second in 2 minutes.
Good.
He pulled that one out of nowhere, threw it on his left boot, and was able to sneak it through. And the Tigers, for the first time today, have back-to-back goals through the agency of their big man. 4-1-25 to 12-5-77. 17 gone second term.
I've got the benefit of a TV here, and I just had a look at Sam Mitchell. They are 8 goals in front, and he has just gone nuts in the coach's box. And the reason would be he wouldn't be looking at this being a Richmond thing. He would be looking at this thinking, if we've got a final coming up and we allow one of the finalists to have that much room from the... Well, actually, it was just a ruck duel because they actually surrounded it very, very well. It was Meek just didn't put pressure on. These are the ones that when boundary umpires don't throw it right, and you've got to have that coverage. You better be in front than behind.
Meek jumps early from the restart, tapping it down Dane Curvis, straight to Hopper. And a ball up to come still in the bullseye.
Mitchell was pretty dirty on their last quarter last week as well against Carlton, even though they belted the Blues. So he's got high standards, we know that.
And Mick, I think you would understand, he doesn't have a competitive switch he can turn on and off. I think it just lives on for someone like Sam Mitchell and your good self as McDonald wins it again for the Hawks on the wing. Handball to D'Ambrosio, Warple run down. Caught holding the ball, good chase. Banks caught him. Free kick to the Tigers on the half-back
flank. Been far more competitive this quarter, far more. And needed to. The range of class is clearly in Hawthorn's favour. The game structure is better because they're confident running. But the Tigers have at least been able to peg a couple of goals back.
This has been a welcome return for Richmond. Kicks to half forward. Good mark from Kazitsky. Cruising past his Banks. Kicks inside the forward 50. Ralph Smith upstairs. Can't mark. Brings it down. Mansell out wide to Coulthard. Right forward pocket. Handball back to Mansell. He slipped over at the critical juncture. Spilt to Impey though for the Hawks. Back to Hopper. He kicks toward goal. And it's bounced past the left-hand post. And through for a minor score. 4-2 plays 12-5. It's a 51-point Hawthorn lead. 19 gone second term. Sunday footy on ABC Sport.
Joel, I'll say something about this, and I know this is a broad comment. Good players don't fall over. I've seen 3 or 4 Richmond players fall over at a psychological moment under pressure. That's called balance.
Scrimshaw with the kick in. Good mark, Loston. Richmond with another chance at an inside 50 entry.
This quarter's been 8-9, far better than the 23-6 first quarter.
Hawks by 51. Vloston goes short, right to the edge of 50. Mark taken by Ralph Smith. His dad Sean played for the Hawks back in the 90s, 4 games. Ralph Smith here in a Richmond jumper against the Hawks. Sets it up towards full forward. Mansell can't mark. Impey worries him out of it. Picked up by Nash. Handball back into the mark. Kazitsky gets a handball out towards Seth Campbell. He drops it. Bolton comes through. Does the same. Picking it up D'Ambrosio for Hawthorn. Off to Impey. Waits a kick nearly perfectly. McDonald just can't quite. Now Richmond are back in through Rioli. Half forward flank off to Graham. Now Trezise. Kicks high into the pocket. Amon goes back, punches it away, and kills it through for a minor score. Hawthorn lead by 50 points. Need again. 12-5 plays 4-3. They did kick 9 goals to 1 in the opening term. Adamuze has moved to the bench.
Hardwick waits for things to unfold in front of him. Comes to the back pocket for Morrison. Had to wait a long time to play game 100. He's been in great form in the VFL, Harry Morrison from the Benalla Saints. Powerhouse in Goulburn Valley footy over the last 10 or so years. Jarman Impey. Similar part of the world up in Shepparton. Now to Scrimshaw, who's in the right back pocket. And it all slows down in front of Hawthorn. Scrimshaw with an aggressive kick up the middle. Spotted Frost and they're away. Just like that. Nash down the line looking for Newcombe. Turnover. Ross with the intervention for Richmond behind halfway.
Ross kicks into the middle of the ground. Just finds Vlosten. Does a little U-turn quickly. Chips it short. Hopper gets it, attacking point of the square, kicks into the pocket, doesn't find its target in Mansell. Getting involved, Morrison slaps it to Impey, Hawthorn in possession. Short kick to Warple. They'll move it down the members' wing, loops a handball to the run of Amon. He'll kick up to Ginnivan in an acre of space at half forward. He gives it off to Bruce. Bruce has men on everywhere. Kicks infield for Gunston.
Gunston's got it right on the 50. Chol wants it deep. Kick goes in that direction. Did he just get it inside the paint? He did.
Well, I reckon he got it in the first seat. Honestly, he would have paid for that where he marked that. I don't know what the boundary umpire's doing. He
just about had a seat in the Olympic stand then, Marby or Chol.
I know it was other end of the ground, but was he or Wayne Harms further out?
Well, no, yeah. Arms was certainly out, so they say. I don't know, but that one there, honestly, that retriever from the first deck.
Chol's just leaning up against the.
That's where he marked it.
Signage as he takes his kick. Left foot kick outside of the boot.
So he felt sorry.
Yes, it was very casual and it hits the left hand behind post. So some footballing justice in that perhaps. Even 50-point spread the way of the Hawks. 12-5 to 4-3. 22.5 gone second term. Sunday footy on ABC Sport. Here's Ben Cameron.
Loston in the back pocket, stabbing it short for Broad. Juggles the mark right on the elbow of defensive 50 in the boundary line. Made some interesting comments during the week. Said he wouldn't want to leave Richmond. It wouldn't sit right with his values after they picked him up as a 22-year-old and after enjoying all of the success they have, that wouldn't feel right to leave. Gives it back to Vlosten. He kicks up to a contest. Nankervis juggles it down.
Good mark, and he's picked his game up, Nankervis. He was pretty horrible in the first quarter. I like the way he's bounced back.
He drives the kick on the left boot up toward half forward. Bauer comes in with some strength. Reaches past Kaczynski, pulls it in. 53 metres from home. Doesn't gain any territory, just kicks wide to Ralph Smith. From the junction, the 50 in the boundary. Sets a long ball goalward. Ralph Smith. From Josh Weddle territory.
Yeah, it's a great goal. Really, I think it was calculated. Once he took that mark and he was able to get a little bit of momentum, he had nothing in front of him. There was no players leading. There was no height down there. He just decided he would take responsibility.
He caught it.
He's been a trier all day, Ralph Smith. I really liked his game. I've liked his season, actually. He just keeps having a crack, the kid. And I think progressively he's getting better and better. I'm not sure how old he is, but he's still a relatively young man.
Only 22, Mick.
Yeah.
Just looking at this game for Hawthorn, you would have been in this position when you're going into finals and you're playing against a lowly opposition and you're winning easy. How concerned are you as a coach that bad habits can begin to form?
What you hope for is a quick gamekeeper, mate, so he miscalculates the time and pushes end of the game. You want the game to finish as quick as you can, Ben. I can categorically tell you.
Morrison from the wing for the Hawks. Long kick inside 50. Deer going up. Just can't mark at the last moment. Bruce Roves. Handball away. McDonald's kick smothered into the goal square. Ralph Smith doing it at both ends. He slides over the line with the ball. Good defensive effort. We spoke about him being a try, Mick. We're seeing that again there. Hawthorn by 45 points, closing in on half-time.
But he's also got a bit of skill too, so he's a good effort player and He's tall enough to worry players.
There's plenty of zip on the wing, that's for sure.
He has. He takes a nice catch, which he's just taken.
Here he is again, Ralph Smith, having a good couple of minutes. Tigers with the last 3 in the ball game, 2 to Bolter, 1 to Ralph Smith. The latter of those 2 drives the kick down the line here. Frost not paid the mark, opposed to Bauer. Handball was cut off by Campbell. Handball back to Hopper, who kicks toward half forward. And Carl Amon is able to intercept, comes across defensively to Dylan Moore. Took 15 marks last week, has one here and spreads it wide to Morrison on the southern side.
Away go the Hawks down the southern wing. Plenty of room for McDonald. He goes for a run. His rat's tail just bobbing as he takes 3 bounces. Thinks about a 4th. Instead kicks into the pocket. Misses Bruce, misses Chol. And it's touched out of bounds. A throw in right forward pocket. Hawks by 45.
That player running down the ground bouncing the football, it's such a rarity these days. I love the way the Hawks, if they see space, they'll run the space. It is an old thing from the American football. See daylight, run to daylight. The Hawks do it.
Ball tossed back in. Nash in ruck. Moore puts his head over it, spins through the traffic, just tumbles a kick forward. Newcomb kept it moving. Ginnivan got the arm across the shoulder of Short there. That'll be a free kick to the Richmond defender. He's got it deep inside defensive 50. 45 points the margin of the Hawks. They had it out as far as 64 earlier in this term after leading by 50 at quarter time. 26 and a half gone second term. Sunday footy on ABC Sport at the MCG. Joel Peterson, Ben Cameron, Mick Malthouse with you as the Tigers again chip it around inside their defensive 50. Jaden Short coming up for another touch, his 9th of the quarter.
Short. He is out to his right. Now goes long up towards the wing. Good mark, Bauer. Reaching up to
2 in
take
a row,
it.
Benny. Two very nice marks. You've called both.
Showing a little bit. Still think anyone named Jay Bauer should have 24 on their back, but he chips it short here to Miller. In front of the interchange gates.
You've got to take ground. Don't stand there like a statue.
Trezise rather, as Trezise kicks long up towards half forward. Sicily in front of the pack. Can't mark. Roving though is Bauer, gets a handball out, under pressure Hopper, off to Taranto, shrugs a tackle, kicks into the pocket for Richmond, looking for a marker, Mansell! Out points Impey.
Yeah, they've gone to sleep, the Hawks. They're still playing okay football, but they're allowed the Tigers to start to wrestle the ball back in the one-on-ones. It's a good sign by the Tigers. They're not going to win this game. But it's a really good sign to be able to fight back. And maybe the Hawks have gone to sleep, waiting for next week.
Tasmanian playing for Richmond. They've had some success with that. Mansell on the approach. His drop punt is perfect. How good is that? Mansell with 2. And the Hawks lead by 39 points. 12-6, 78 plays 6-3, 39. Ryan Mansell is playing today on the MCG, being watched by Arnie Titmus, our Olympic hero, who's here supporting the Hawks. They went to primary school together down in Tasmania, believe it or not.
Of course. Is that Dan Alonso?
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
Lauren Borden on the boundary.
A bit of good news for the Hawks on the injury front. Cam McKenzie's been able to come up and go back onto the field. So he had his concussion test, and the doctor, you could see him say to the bench, I'm happy he's able to go back on and give the thumbs up. So good news for McKenzie to come back on after that Graham hit.
We do tend to test players for sneezing. I know they've got to cover themselves, but it's almost like don't jog down the race in case you strain yourself.
Last 4 of the game to the Tigers. Margin has been cut right back, and here they come once more. Prestia from long range launches it from outside 50 and strikes the padding of the left-hand goalpost at the City end of the ground. 38 points the margin. Tigers doing all the scoring in the last 15 minutes or so. 29 and a half gone in this second term on ABC Sport.
Well, these are the things that would worry Mitchell, that they've kicked Tigers have managed to kick 5 goals.
Sicily kicks up to the wing. Meek rids himself of Nankervis to mark. Gives the handball to Waymon running by. He kicks out in front of Chol. Leads up and takes it on his chest. Wide out alongside the interchange gates. Chol kicks up to half forward looking for Ginnivan. Bracketed by a couple of Tigers. And they punch it away. Trezise reaching over. Throwing 60 around from the attacking goal for the Hawks. My advice to them, stay away from Sam Mitchell at the start of half-time. I think he'll be frustrated, Mick.
Well, that wasn't a smart kick by Chol. He's kicked the ball to a smaller player with two players around him. It's just nonsense.
The second term of the season for Richmond. Free kick at the contest. Moore was darting away with the footy, and it's going back the other way to Tigers colours, to Tim Taranto. He's had an injury-interrupted season. Came 14 of the campaign for the start. Short to Banks. Another Tasmanian product out of Clarence. He's got it at right half back on the broadcast side of the ground. 38 points to spread. Hawthorn had it out by 64 earlier in the term. Banks down the line, and Bolter comes charging in, gets the leg up into the back of Meek. Didn't come back around his mark, so as he blasts the kick inside forward 50, he'll have to take it from right on halfway.
We've had a little bit of the full Noah Bolter experience. We had that with Joe yesterday in the game we did here, and getting that from Noah today. I wonder if he got a rev up at quarter time, Mick, because you're ready to give him one.
Well, he's confident.
If Adamuzze didn't, Mick certainly did.
Oh, he wants to go with the barrel here. Doesn't quite get it. It floats inside 50. Knocked out towards Bolton, who puts it on the boot. It floats on goal and misses. Well, they were better in the second quarter, Richmond. They kicked the last 4 goals of it and won the term 5-3. That was after it was 9-1 in the opening stanza. So Hawthorn lead by 37 points. It did get out to as many as 64. The goal kickers for the Hawks: 2 to Moore, 2 to Gunston, 2 to Deer, singles to Newcombe, Warple, Eamon, Chol, McKenzie and Watson. While for Richmond, their 6 goals have come through. Bolter and Mansell both with a couple, singles to Bolton and to Ralph Smith. Sunday footy on ABC Sport. Great to have you with us. Round 23 from the MCG. Mick Malthouse, the coaching icon, is with us. What did we see, Mick?
What we saw is a side that's put until half-time. I suggest their coach might have a crack at them. The fact that the player group are meeting before they go down the races is significant. I would suspect that they would have thought that Richmond would have just rolled straight over it, and for all intents and purposes that was going to happen. I would be terribly surprised that Adamuzze didn't cut loose, whether he did it collectively or onto a couple of individuals, but certainly the captain in Nankervis was jumping better, more aggressive. You saw how aggressive it was in the first couple of seconds. And it sort of set a bit of a pattern, even though Hawthorn then got a second and third goal back, or they kicked the second and third goal. The Tigers wrestled a bit of control by just sheer run, bit of work ethic. And these stats prove it. The contested football went heavily in the Tigers' way, and that means something to me. That means that you may not be the best side, but you're having a real crack. Inside 50s fell 15-12, which was unbelievable in the first quarter, 23-6 going Hawthorn's way, and the clearances went the Tigers' way. So all the indicators went the Richmond's way, and their scoreline proved that. 5-3. Hawthorn got those 3 goals pretty quickly. However, I don't know it'll change the result of the game, but for the public's point of view, for families' point of view, and for the players themselves, to have a crack, nothing makes you feel better than coming off the ground with a bit of sweat on you, a bit of mud, dirt, and a couple of bruises to say I've had a crack, as opposed to I've chased all day. But reality is we can't wait for the season to finish, and that's what it was in the first quarter. But well done, Tigers. Hawks still got total control of this game in many respects.
So the numbers bear some of what you were talking about out, Mick, in that second term. So Hawthorn kicked 5 goals from stoppage in that opening quarter.
Yep.
Richmond kicked 3-1 in that second term.
Yep.
So they were able to get some ascendancy around the football and create some scoring chains from that method, which they just didn't have available to them at all in the opening term.
No, and given I haven't got a sidekick, and I guess I'm going to be doing the votes, I always like to do a quarter by quarter. It was hard not to fit every Hawthorn player in there. And now I come away thinking, well, hang on, they've disappeared, some of these blokes. Newcomb's been okay, Warple's been okay, Scrimshaw's been okay, Eamon's been okay. But Prestia, I thought, tried hard in the first quarter, but he's ended up with 15 so far, and he just looks like he's the one in the middle that's doing a lot of... Ralph Smith going okay. Rioli's starting to get a bit of run. Gloston dropped an easy sitter, but then takes the big hard mark, the tough mark, the tough play. Toronto's going okay. Hopper's going okay. There's no one... Moore was the most dominant player early. He's had 9 and 1. What do you have in the first quarter? I think he's had... I've got it here. If I can get 9 and 1.
He's had 10 disposals and 2 goals for the game so far, Dylan Moore.
Yes.
Which all came in the first quarter.
Yeah. All come in the first quarter, so he didn't touch the ball. There we are. Here, I'm just looking at this second quarter. But it's hard to get outside of enthusiastic for the Hawthorn Football Club because they've come from nowhere to and I've got them inked in already, so nothing changes. They are going to be in the bottom half of the top 8 at the end of this game unless something extraordinary happens. And I'm not saying that Richmond can't do it, but I don't think they've got the manpower to do it, but they'd be delighted in their efforts. The Hawks, they've lost one day for a while. And there's the worry for the coaches. When you start to enter this part of the year, you know you've got to keep winning. You don't want to lose players, and you can't wait for the game to finish. Because you know around the corner, a trip to Tassie next week, if they win that one, they are playing finals football. They've got 1 week off to get themselves ready for that first game. They won't make the top 4, so therefore it's going to be sudden death. So this is where, as a coach, and I have been in this position before, you know you want to win. You know your players want to win. There is, in fact, I'll go back a long, I know this is dark ages, 1980. I think Richmond at the second last round on top of the ladder, playing South Melbourne, got beaten by 10 goals. We dropped from 1st to 4th. In my mind, we were going to win the premiership, only because none of us wanted to get bruised. It was all new to me, being ready for a grand final. And so many of my teammates are saying, I've got a funny feeling a lot of the Hawthorn players in that quarter, they'll get a rev up.
You reckon self-protection came in?
It's a subconscious thing, Benny.
Yep.
You don't mean it. You're thinking, I know we've got a game next week and we've got to win that game, but destiny's in our own hands. We don't have to rely on anyone else winning or losing. If we win today and we win next week, we're there. It becomes, where were we at round 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10? We were nowhere near it. All of a sudden we are there. We don't want to give it up and we don't want to be injured for it. And they would have seen a teammate go off with a broken collarbone and they would be going, well, I don't want to, I mean, if I was in Mitchell's case, I'd be going, now, how's Sicily's shoulder? Can I afford to get him off and take him off as often as I can so he's not exposed? These are the little things that go through your head as a coach.
So just repeating, if you haven't been with us throughout the day, Will Day subbed out with a broken collarbone, has gone away to hospital for scans on that shoulder, and we'll find out how bad that is as the day progresses, probably tomorrow in all likelihood. Hawthorn leading by 37 points here. Earlier today, the Western Bulldogs won by 96 points over North Melbourne. Just about to start, the West Coast Eagles and Carlton. As always, if you wish to listen to any games in the AFL, you can do so on the ABC Listen app. Just open that up, click on the AFL toggle. There are circle toggles across the top. Click on that. It will be listed as West Coast and Carlton. Okay, half-time between Hawthorn and Richmond. 12-6, 78 plays, 6-5, 41. Let's pause and get the latest from the ABC Newsroom.
ABC News. Good afternoon. I'm Simon Lauder. The federal government says it will agree to some of the coalition's amendments to a bill that would force the CFMEU into administration. Labor was unable to get the legislation through the Senate on Thursday after the coalition and the Greens teamed up to vote it down. The bill would appoint an administrator to most branches of the construction union following allegations of criminal infiltration. Finance Minister Katie Gallagher says the government will agree to extend the administration period from 3 to 5 years at the request of the opposition.
It's certainly around minimum terms. It's around, I think, more accountability to the Parliament. There's a number of amendments that are currently being discussed with the Coalition to meet some of the concerns they have, but also get the bill passed.
The Prime Minister has called on the Liberal Party to explain discrepancies in its nominations for the upcoming council elections. Yesterday, the New South Wales Electoral Commission shut down the Liberal Party's plea to extend the deadline after it missed submitting nominations for about 140 candidates. Anthony Albanese says the blunder may have exposed factional wars within the party, as some nominations made it, while others within the same council area seemed to go missing.
It's interesting, the factional disputes that appear to be bubbling to the surface once again between the hard right of the Liberal Party and others, complaining about some factions' noms getting in, some others.
US Secretary of State Antony Blinken is on his way to Israel ahead of the latest round of talks to try to end the fighting in Gaza. More from the BBC's Jenny Hill.
As Antony Blinken flies into Israel, the stakes could not be higher. A ceasefire and hostage return deal is considered key to stopping the Gaza conflict from escalating into an all-out regional war. Mr. Blinken is expected to hold talks with Israel's Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu. The US, along with Qatar and Egypt, is pushing hard for both sides to agree to a new bridging proposal laid out during talks last week. President Joe Biden said the parties were closer to a deal than ever. In a statement, Benjamin Netanyahu's office expressed cautious optimism that a deal could be reached, but Hamas has dismissed that position as an illusion. A senior official told the BBC that no progress had been made.
A Danish biotech company says it's seeking approval from the European Union's drug regulator to extend the use of its Mpox and smallpox vaccine to adolescents aged 12 to 17. The World Health Organization has declared Mpox a global public health emergency, with children and adolescents particularly vulnerable to it. The latest strain has killed at least 450 people in the Democratic Republic of Congo, and cases have been detected in Sweden and Pakistan in recent days. Back home, and global credit rating company S&P says Victoria's AA rating could be downgraded if major projects such as the suburban rail loop go over budget. Rachel Clayton reports.
An S&P spokesman says the company believes there's a risk the suburban rail loop may cost more than the government forecasts, given its size and the state's recent history of major projects going over budget. The rail loop, which aims to connect all of Melbourne's major rail lines, is forecast to cost more than $96 billion. The S&P spokesman says if Victoria does not secure federal government funding for the project, the state's fiscal outlook may weaken and erode its credit standing. Victoria currently has the lowest rating of any state or territory in Australia.
A pedestrian who died after being hit by a police vehicle on Flinders Island off Tasmania's northeast has been identified as a local volunteer firefighter. Isabella Podwinski has more.
About 9 o'clock last night, an on-duty police officer hit a man while he was driving along Lady Barron Road at Lady Barron. Police say the officer immediately called emergency services and performed CPR on the 60-year-old local, but he died at the scene. The victim has since been confirmed to be from the rural town of Lacrana and was a Tasmanian Fire Service volunteer. Police say a full investigation is underway, but early investigations indicate the officer was not speeding and the victim had crossed onto the road before being struck. Police say their thoughts are with the man's loved ones and the entire Flinders Island community.
In round 23 of the AFL, the Western Bulldogs have thrashed North Melbourne by 96 points at Docklands Stadium. Bulldogs forward Sam Darcy kicked a career-high 7 goals and took 9 marks in the win. ABC News.
It's the most magical time of the year, right? Footy season! This season you can get your footy live and ad-free on the ABC Listen app. Unbelievable! AFL, NRL, men's, women's. Whatever you fix, we've got you covered. Every goal, try, mark and tackle, called by ABC Sports' expert commentary team.
Set, bingo!
100% pure footy, live and ad-free on the ABC Listen app.
This is ABC Sports coverage of the 2024 AFL season. Every day. match on the ABC Listen app.
Look for the AFL button.
McDonald runs away with it through the logo, kicks inside 50. Gunston goes up, Blight gets back, spoils it down. Scholl will arrive, cleverly soccers it on. Deere gives it back to Scholl. Scholl a little casual, gets it on the boot. Normal transmission resumes.
Hoping then Curvis making him earn that one. Oh, and that's a late hit from Graham. McKenzie coming across to Mark. Graham's collected him high, trying to spoil. McKenzie from 40 metres out sinks another one for the Hawks.
Tadamuse's come down to the bench. What can you do as a coach right now? What are you doing? What are you thinking?
I'd be finding out where my car was and see if I can get in and go home.
Off to Taranto, shrugs a tackle, kicks into the pocket for Richmond, looking for a marker. Mansell on the approach. His drop punt is perfect. How good is that?
The 2024 AFL Premiership season.
On your radio.
ABC Sport Digital.
And on the ABC Listen app.
Hawthorn did lead by as much as 64 points. They lead by 37 at the main break. It's a sunny Sunday afternoon at the home of football, the MCG, the Hawks and Richmond. We set it up off the top that Hawthorn needed to win, then they needed to win well because percentage could be important, but it does look like they'll be winning. The question is not how, it's how much. So that's what we're waiting on as we move through this afternoon. Just bringing you up to date with the earlier results, or one result. There's only 3 games on this Sunday afternoon. It was a big win for the Western Bulldogs. They won comfortably over the North Melbourne Kangaroos by 96 points, and Sam Darcy, maybe the day will remember his arrival. We know he's a star in the making, a red, white and blue chipper. 7 goals for him earlier today, and Carlton and the West Coast Eagles underway. We've played about 5 minutes and Carlton leading by a minor score. So in one of the many Mick Malthouse Cups, Carlton with an early lead over the West Coast Eagles, Mick.
Well, I didn't think about that, Bill. You're spot on. Well, this funny as it may seem, we probably know the result today. Let's not dismiss 6 goals at half time. You suspect that Hawthorn will win. If Carlton beat West Coast, it throws Fremantle out, and my deduction is that there can only be one change to the 8 from there on in next round, because Fremantle win and one of those 3 that we know are fighting for it today lose, Fremantle go back in, and by that I'm saying about Hawks play North. I think the Dogs play GWS
in Ballarat next Sunday,
and the Saints are in form, play the Blues. So Fremantle then have to beat Port at home. So they're the only games, and let's assume that happens this weekend. Next weekend, if one of these is an upset, i.e. West Coast, or they're not an upset if they do beat Collingwood come into play. So it's still a remarkable year.
Certainly is. It's all open, isn't it, Mick? I feel you had more to add there, but I think that's a nice note to finish on. It is a remarkable year.
Well, I'm trying to have a cup of tea.
Yeah, your fruit salad.
I'm going easy on the fruit salad, Ben, but my voice, I'm not used to doing all this by myself. Particularly the voting. I'm scared stiff about these votes.
I thought it was going to be my time to vote. I was ready to go.
You would have started.
You are so welcome.
I bet you would have started with the 3 too.
The issue is because, correct, we had issues with that with Luke Ball yesterday. We can't do it. The sanctity of the ABC Footballer of the Year. We need an esteemed voter, and unfortunately I don't come under that banner.
I come 25th in Brownlow one year.
Did you?
Yeah.
How many votes?
Equal 25th.
One?
One.
That's great.
I think someone won it with 25. I got 1. So that's equal 25th. Yeah. Is that equal 25th?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, that's why I worked it out.
What about, how many did you poll over the course of your career, Mick?
12 years, 1.
1? That was the 1 vote?
Yeah, I take solace in the fact that Jeff Rains in 1980 premiership year was the favourite. Magnificent season. No votes.
You didn't get a vote?
No. So I look at that and think, you know what? who cares?
Do you have a theory as to why we've expanded so much? Like it feels like almost every year we seem to get a higher tally in the Brownlow medal.
Well, it's the people in the middle, and
you think they're reading the press and looking for those players?
No, they can't. Well, of course they do. Of course they read the press, but they're human. Yeah. And I say about the umpires, I am so rapt that it still stayed an umpire award. The Brownlow has got to stay an umpire award. I was critical of saying, oh, what do they need stats for? What don't they know? But they've got enough on their plate. I would after last year, I would reintroduce stats so they can actually at least have some reference point and then decide, because I think that don't go by sole numbers. If I went by numbers now, who would win it? Would be Newcomb is 19, Warple 16 and Prestia 15. So are they my 1, 2 or 3? Well, it can't be. You've got to look a bit deeper, and they may well be. So that's why I say with the umpires, give them an opportunity to view it. Does that answer that question there, Ben?
It does. Absolutely it does. I mean, I think the year Brad Hardy won, I think it was only 18 votes. I think that he received to win with
back pocket.
Incredibly. From the back pocket, yeah. 12-6-78 Hawthorn, Richmond 6-5-41. Hawks leading by 37 points. Players in position. Lights on at the MCG. Has been a sunny afternoon, which you can't always guarantee in August in Melbourne. Been unseasonable the last few days. Great to have you with us. 0437 774 774 if you wish to get involved. Will Hawthorn continue on their merry way? Will Richmond fight further back into the contest? You're with Joel Peterson, Sunday Footy on ABC Sport.
Muse able to rev his Tigers up to start the second term. Wonder whether Sam Mitchell's done the same in the third. Immediately Nankervis down to Prestia. A solid tackle is laid by Newcomb. He took his own teammate out in the opening term in Day, who has been subbed out of the game with that broken collarbone. Ross and Newcomb at the feet of the rucks. Going in there, Mackenzie, their first round pick from a couple of years ago of Hawthorn, and now this time it is Newcomb who's dragged down by Ross. Do it all again.
Oh, that was handed back to...
Yep, handed back to Lloyd Meek, the footy, and not to the umpire. Lloyd Meek flicked it to the umpire as quickly as he could, not quickly enough. Nankervis will take it from the middle for Richmond.
Sends a high ball inside 50, looking for a marker. And Bauer brings it down.
He's been very impressive in the air. Really impressive, and attacking the ball hard.
He was slightly unconventional and unconvincing in the way he went up, but he's come down with the ball in his keeping nevertheless. Good mark, launching from 3 deep. Only kicked 6 goals in his career, 22-year-old. Directly in front here. Give Richmond the dream start after halftime. He shanks it, sprays it out to the right. Bolter goes up, gets a hand on it. Out of play, throwing to come.
I think you've been
right forward pocket.
Very kind there, Ben. Shanks it to the right.
Yeah.
His kick went 30 metres.
He's kicked that with his sock.
It was on the next fairway, wasn't it?
It was a ordinary attempt. Nonetheless, very good mark.
Meek in ruck for Hawthorn, down to Newcomb, back to Meek. Now Mackenzie with a player in the back pocket. Hands it off to Carl Amon. Just a long goal in the opening term, out to halfback. Did Watson get a touch on it before it went out? He did, said the boundary umpire. It'll be tossed back in underneath the Shane Warne stand. The only portion of the ground with some sun still remaining for the spectators on the top tier over there, shielding their eyes as Ian Burrows fires it back into play. Newcomb, he's been busy already in this third term. Dispossessed there. Kick inside forward 50 for the Tigers. Bash back the other way by Hardwick. Spills to Mackenzie. To Newcomb once more. To D'Ambrosio, who kicks up toward the southern wing. Wrestle there with Blight and Deer. It's going to be a Hawthorn free kick. Downfield, be Kalshadir who'll take it just behind halfway.
So Deer runs alongside the logo. Kicks long for Gunston. Plucks it out of the air. Takes the mark, called to play on now. Has to look into the pocket, can only chip it aimlessly into the pocket. Miller paddles it out for Richmond, throwing 40 around from the attacking goal for the Hawks. They led it by 37. Sunday Footy here on ABC Sport. Ben Cameron, Joel Peterson, Mick Malthouse, Lauren Borden bringing you the action. Nankervis slapping it down for Ralph Smith. Stolen by Ginnivan. Snaps on goal. Deer in the goal square. Can't mark. Spoiled away. Out towards the pocket it goes and over the boundary line. Good spoil there from Blight. Throwing left forward pocket.
It's a much improved effort side for the Tigers at the moment. Two and a bit minutes of play. We played 20 direct, so they've been able to hold on.
Ball tossed back in. Meek missed it. Warple picked it up. Tumbles it toward goal. It skittled the pack, but it rolls away to the right-hand side for a minor score. The first score of this third term, but behind to Hawthorn. 12-7-79 to 6-5-41. A 38-point lead the way of the Hawks. 4 minutes into this third quarter.
Short with the kick in. Goes to the defensive arc. Mark taken by Rioli. Gives it after the run of Loston. Tucks it under the arm. He'll kick towards half forward. No one there for Richmond. Weddle gathers under no pressure. Runs into some. Handball back to Sicily. Being corralled. Mansell's got him. Caught. Just got a handball away. Stays in the contest, Mansell. He soccers it towards the goal square. Picked up back there by Frost for Hawthorn. Buffeted off his kick. Tigers bringing the heat. Graham applying the tackle. And a ball up to come. 15 out from the attacking goal for the Tigers.
Well, Mansell, that was brilliant by Mansell. The tackle, then the chase. This is a vastly different Tiger side that's prepared to run and work together.
Can they get some reward for effort? Bolter immediately down. Mansell puts his head over it. Frost just tumbles it out of there. Sprawling forward to slap it to Warple. Handball to Impey. Now to D'Ambrosio. Career-high 31 disposals last week for Massimo. Floats the kick in the direction of Impey. In fact, Amon, I should say, who marks just inside the boundary line at left half back. Assesses his options. Doesn't see a lot up the field that he likes. Just tries to fashion a kick back to D'Ambrosio. It's nicely weighted too. Pass of about 35 metres. D'Ambrosio keeps it moving now. He's got Ginnivan centre of the southern wing.
His new short hairdo. Jack Ginnivan just twirling the footy on the centre line. Wide out on the southern wing. Kicks to a pack. Half forward Nankervis. Goes up. Paid the mark. Richmond back with it. Kicks infield for Ross. Inside the defensive arc. Sweeps a handball to Taranto. Taranto will kick out towards the members' wing. Mansell there with Hardwick. Hardwick brings it down. Banks overruns it. Might have been impeded there by Hardwick. Morrison picks it up. Stabs it to the pocket. It will come back. Free kick.
That's it.
Banks was impeded.
Yeah, that wasn't called by the umpire at the scene there, Ben. It was called by a combination. I'm still bemused. Do they have direct contact with one another? If they do, it's great. And I'm pleased that one of the very few times that four umpires it actually worked, because there was a dead set free kick there.
Yeah, free kick by the umpire in the defensive 50 on that occasion. Banks kicks down the line. Bolton flew among the pack, right on halfway broadcast side of the ground. Newcomb to Hardwick, to Amon, into the centre of the ground now for McKenzie. The Hawks can expand the field here as they do so well. McKenzie floats his kick in the direction of Moore, drops it inside the 50. Gunston.
He's in real form, real touch. Gunston.
His hands were clean there. Miller dragged him to the turf after he took the mark. He's marked this 45 metres from home. Watson's on the deck just off the footy.
He's good for this distance, Joel. This shouldn't bother him distance-wise, and I reckon he's kicked a few from here before.
Absolutely he has. 3 last week for Jack Gunston, kicking his 3rd today, potentially. That's a beautiful strike. He's good for the distance, all right, Mick. And he's good for the accuracy as well. A 3rd for Gunston, who continues to deliver in front of the big sticks. And Hawthorn get the first of the second half. 13-7, 85 to 6-5-41. 7 minutes played, third term on ABC Sport.
Yeah, I was wondering where Jack Gunston was coming from when he went to Brisbane and come back. I thought, is he going to be a part-time player, help out, be there for a few games? You really have to... The way the Hawks have graduated through the year, to get in that side, you need to be able to get in there and stay in there. He's been that player. Brewster's been a player that's been used a lot as the substitution, and what a substitution to bring on. But Gunston, because of his size, and you have a look around the players around, Chol has added a different dimension, as has Deer. So you throw more in that in there. They are a really lively forward line.
And Gunston doing a lot of mentorship with Kalshadir You hear out of Hawthorn. Free kick from the restart going the way of Prestia. Richmond in possession. Kicks out to the half-forward flank. And Ralph Smith kicked a nice goal earlier in the game. Hawks by 44. Ralph Smith sets it up towards the hot spot. Good mark, Scrimshaw. Floating back in front of the pack. Takes the defensive mark for the Hawks. Scrimshaw.
It's interesting, Ben. Just before the game, I ran into Tom Lynch. Such a lovely bloke. But how the Tigers could have had that sort of size player in that full forward line, it'd make a vast difference.
McDonald in the back pocket. Long kick up to the wing. Meek brings it to ground, then wins it at ground level. Handball to Ginnivan. Hawks down the wing. Gunston trying to get his hands free. Does so now.
And he just spots up Newcombe in the centre of the ground with great composure. Newcombe inside the 50. Chol had it bashed away by Ralph Smith. Prester inside the defensive 50. Flicks the hand pass forward to Broad. Now to Hopper. Arches the back. Loops it over the top to Ralph Smith. He's got a runner centrally. Got caught. Got the kick away in the tackle of Frost. Gets it up toward half forward. Weddle ran past it. Graham stays with the play. Runs into McDonald, who drives him into the turf. And we'll have a ball up in line with the front edge of the centre square. Tigers searching for their 7th of the contest. Hawks have kicked the only goal in this third term so far. They lead by 44. It's 9.5 minutes old.
West Coast have kicked the opening 2 goals of the game against Carlton. They lead by that margin. If you wish to listen to it, you can get it on the app. Gunston tumbles it to half forward, picked up by Deere. He'll kick towards Chol. Running back, taps it down. Bruce swoops on it, snap touch. Ricochets towards goal. Moore throwing a boot at it. Couldn't get his boot on it. Through for a minor score. It was nearly the Harlem Globetrotter Hawks. Hawthorn by 45 points, nearly 10 minutes played in the third.
Almost the karate kick there for Dylan Moore. Size into the back pocket for Broad. Dangerous little kick down the line. Good enough to find Miller.
Little kick, all right. It's ankle high all the way.
Miller, about 196 centimetres, had to get down very low. He puts a little bit more feeling into his kick up toward Nankervis. Scrimshaw's there in the pack. Took it for Hawthorn. Dispossessed. Squirts out through Bolter to Ralph Smith, who uses his pace to run away from them. Kicks inside the 50. Oh, Bauer! Outstanding, getting the rise over Sicily. And then he almost kicked it into the back of Frost's head. What was he doing? He marked it 40 metres out. And Gimpy now runs through. He's tackled, caught. And Bolton will have the free kick for Richmond. And for goodness sake, Shea, go back and have the shot.
He will. There's no question. He's not going to even look around. That's another great mark by Bowden. But he's used to the football. I think he was gun shy from the last kick, and that one there was the right kick to square it up, but he just didn't put enough effort, enough oomph into it. But this is a great tackle, forward line tackle that caused this turnover.
Kicked one in the second term, Shea Bolton. They've amped their pressure up, Richmond. Can they get rewarded on the scoreboard? Noah Bolter watches it sail over his head as he stands in between the goalposts. Shea Bolton with a pair. And Richmond with their first of the second half to cut the gap back to 39. 7-5-47 to 13-8-86. 11.5 minutes gone third term. Mick Malthouse, I'd say, Sam Mitchell might be disappointed with what he's seen since quarter time, but Adam Uzay'd have to be pretty pleased.
Exactly. Joel, that truer words couldn't have been spoken. Yes, the Tigers, we said at quarter time, it's not, if you're going to be out-muscled, the other side's better than you, then you've got to lift up your work rate, you've got to lift up your endeavour, have a real crack. You don't know what happens. It's 1 goal each this quarter. They outscored the Hawks 3 goals to 6 in the second quarter. It's the overall effort that you want, and there's been an extremely good effort by the Tigers right now. So, yes, both coaches would be different in their approach.
Back to 39 points. Kazitsky in the ruck against the old mob and winning the tap down, but following up.
Did go into the record books, Benny, just to find, the 100-point margins between Richmond and Hawthorn pretty early on in the piece. May not be needed.
Spills out to Hopper from the secondary baller. Off to Banks, off to Short, to Rioli, going backwards. Here the Tigers, Rioli showing some candy, running to fullback. Chol tracking him, tackles him as he gets his kick away. Hawthorn's pressure coming. Off to Ginnivan in the pocket, slips over, shoulder roll, wants a free kick, and he'll get it. Taken high, Guinea. Free kick in the left forward pocket.
Yeah, it's there. It's just a poor, very, very poor tackle. He did slip. I said there players holding their feet. It must be very slippery in there. He went to ground. As he went to ground, the Richmond player, all he had to do was really just cover him. But he went to tackle while he's on the ground, straight over the neck. This would be a late Emma's there for Ginnivan with this sort of kick for goal.
Stands it, right angles, hooks it across the body and hits the post.
That's what he was aiming for, I'm sure, Ben.
Rattles it into the woodwork. And he'd be most disappointed he doesn't get to pull out the celly, as the kids call it these days. Hawks by 40 points. I did hear a distinction today, Mick, that as much as these young Hawks are brash and they celebrate their goals, they tend to together. Like they're all in on it. They're all in on the celebration together, whereas that's not always the case. Sometimes it's run over to celebrate with the crowd, etc.
You know, we penalise the crowd if they touch a player, and yet some players run and jump virtually onto the fence and, hug crowds.
James Stewart celebration.
Yeah.
Josh Weddle did it last week.
You've got to be careful how you go about doing this. You do it, which way do you want it? So I'd be advising players keep well away from the crowd in this sort of situation. Oh, God, what's he done with that?
Tigers just knocking it around inside the defensive 50. Tresize has had a touch, so too short. Now Miller. Right back pocket, City end of the ground. Down by 40 points, the Tigers. Supporters urge him to get it moving. That's what Ben Miller does. Kicks long up the line. Frost's fallen awkwardly as he tried to mark. Scooped up by Mansell. Handball to Hopper. Ran into traffic. Lloyd Meek got him, dragged him down. Couple of country kids going hard at it. And Meek, the big fella, wins the free kick on that occasion. There's not much that's Meek about Big Lloyd. He stands centre of the southern wing. Gonna poke his kick over the top. Finds Cam McKenzie. Hawks by 40 points, halfway gone in this third term.
Nothing McKenzie likes initially. So he'll just set it up to the pocket. A 9-9. Looking for a leaper. Up goes Chol underneath it. Vlosten.
He's a great player, Vlosten. For his size, he's not a tall player. You'd say a third tall, but just his ability to hold up, particularly a young back line.
Surprisingly, never an All-Australian, Mick.
Oh, I find that just... probably because of the years they played, they had so many great players.
Up towards the wing, the Tigers work it. Ross able to gather it on the bounce, gives it off to Short, who moves it to Rioli.
Rioli floats the handball over the top to Taranto. Needs to get rid of it quickly toward Tresize. Handball had a bit too much juice on it. Moore tracks it down for the Hawks. Handball back to Meek, who puts his head down. Gets it to Newcomb. Run down in the centre circles. Caught holding the ball. And Ryan Mansell lets him know about it. Mansell kicks to half forward, and that's cut off by Scrimshaw, who floats across and dashes away with a bounce. Handball to Moore, half-blind spin on the southern wing, kicks toward Ginnivan. Ginnivan's got a runner going past him, Gunston at half-forward, pokes it inside the 50, finds Chol. 40 metres from home. Marbior will go back and have a shot.
He probably needs to. There's a little bit of mayhem at the moment chaos, I'll say chaos more so. The extra hand pass, the extra kicks, just not finding its target. That one there, he can settle down. 45 metres. I mean, he really should knock this over. He's put in the side for this sort of stuff.
33 on the season so far, Marbior Chol. Hawks leading goal kicker on the campaign. From just inside the 50, left foot strike is fading. Fading a little bit too far, misses to the right-hand side. Hawks by 41, 17 gone. Third term, Sunday footy on ABC Sport.
Didn't listen to you, Mick.
No, well, we've gone 12 minutes for 2 goals. It's quite remarkable when you look at that first quarter.
Yeah, they piled on 9. Hawthorn, if you joined us after that, Richmond kicked the opening goal. Hawthorn kicked the next 9. Will Day out with a broken collarbone, so off to hospital. Will be a costly afternoon, however you cut it up. Here for the Hawks. Frost, intercept marks on the wing.
Too easy.
Southern side of the ground, kicks back on the 45, back to Impey.
Just moving there, curves it right out the way. You've got to expect contact.
Impey goes back to Hardwick at centre-half back. Lauren Borden.
Camden McIntosh, he's just run on as a sub for Richmond. It's Matthew Coulthard who's come off and sitting at the back of the bench.
I don't think he touched the football, Coulthard. I'll be just interested to see what he had.
Had a couple in that second term in the right forward pocket. He certainly had it a couple of times, but not many. Long kick inside the forward 50 here from Scrimshaw, and it's smashed over the line.
McIntosh will give him a bit of run on this wing if he's playing wing. I'm just looking where he's going. He's in behind the ball, so I'm suspecting that he's on the wing.
Thoughts of Mick Malthouse on ABC Sport. Hawks inside forward 50, up by 41. Broad spins his way through the contest. Hopper and Taranto both there. Gave it up to D'Ambrosio. Now to Bruce in the left forward pocket. Dangerous man to have the footy in the hands of. He tried to float his kick toward Gunston. Had a bit too much on it, and it bounces into the bottom of the behind post. Out of bounds on the full. Taken on the last line of defence by the Tigers through Ben Miller.
I watched McIntosh play a couple of weeks ago as guest of the Tigers, and I thought he played pretty well. I don't know whether they're sort of phasing him out, but he just never ceases to keep working hard, whatever position he plays. So it's a good time to bring him on, get involved.
Here he is, McIntosh taking a Mark Miller long to the wing, Nankervis, a pack mark, and then moving it on to McIntosh. He'll set it up to the half-forward flank. Up goes Weddle through his hands. Kaczynski at the fall there for Richmond. Handball away towards Mansell. Outside of the boot, inside 50. Bouncing ball in the pocket for the Tigers. Hardwick makes it his for Hawthorn. Little 1-2 with Scrimshaw. Off to the run of Impey. Through the middle of the ground he goes. Kicks towards half-forward. And half-volleyed there by Miller. Tried to claim it. Umpire said no. And wants to ball it up on the Gunston tackle. Is that a bump ball, Mick?
Well, he's done a great job of trying to convince the umpire, but I would have thought it hit the ground just for the... No, he's marked that. He is taken that mark. No wonder he's a bit shocked.
He certainly got his hands to it before it hit the ground. Whether it hit the ground in the process or not, who knows? But it's
not a cricket ball.
Yep,
that can't happen.
And most of them get paid in that situation.
Absolutely they do.
Regardless. So Miller might have been a little bit stiff there. Free kick to the Tigers after the resultant ball up. Kick comes wide toward Dressais, who was infringed upon by McDonald, the man from the Turin Delmore Seagulls in the West Gippsland Footy League. Hands off to Short, who bangs it as far as he can to the edge of the 50. That'll be a free kick to the Tigers as well. It's Mansell who's on the bottom of the pack here. He'll get to his feet right on the paint of the 50.
Yeah, copped it high. Put his body in a really good position though.
Hands it off to Short from 55 metres out. We've seen this before. Jaden Short unloads to the goal square. Frost is there, tackled, ball spills loose. D'Ambrosio on the last line. His handball picked up by Ralph Smith. Watson's there, knocks the footy loose. Ralph Smith runs back into trouble. He's corralled by an absolute nest of Hawks, and they'll get out of trouble as Hardwick bangs it up the broadcast wing.
Just sinks his slipper into it. Spiral up to the wing. Short robes it. Gathers for Richmond. Handball away to Nankervis to Vlosten. Switches the kick out towards the southern side. Taken by McIntosh. Looks into the pocket. Bolter.
Well,
marks 45 out. Tight angle.
Yeah, a lot of experience there by McIntosh. Just as soon as that ball was contested on the half back line, he made space for his teammates, knowing he could play on. That's the difference between receiving the football and getting stopped by the Hawthorn side. He knew he could play on. That's why the ball now is in Richmond's 50-metre line.
Bolter trudges in from right on the elbow of 50 in the boundary line. It's just a little narrow. Pretty good effort from there. It looked good for a lot of the journey, but just sliding through on the near side. Hawthorn lead by 40 points, 22 minutes played in the third term. Sunday footy here on ABC Sport.
Haven't had a goal since the 11-minute mark of this term. Slowed down somewhat after a frenetic start. Hawthorn kicking 9 goals in the opening quarter. Amon drives it outside the defensive 50. Kick up toward Campbell for the Tigers. He and Impey go to battle. Campbell comes up with it. Wedges the kick inside the 50. And Carl Amon takes the mark.
Yeah, great contest. Amon's very reliable. That's a good contest though.
Number 2 in the competition in metres gained, Carl Amon. Given 12 kilometres to the advantage of the Hawks in the season. Here's Hardwick, his kick run down by Bolton, who speeds away into an open goal and kicks his third. Opportunistic from Shea Bolton. It was a poacher's chance. He created the turnover, and it was an opportunity he wasn't going to let slip. Margin back to 34 points now. Hawks 13-10-88. The Tigers with their 8th goal. They're 8-6-54. 23 minutes gone. Third term. Sunday footy on ABC Sport.
He's had 2 possessions this quarter. 2 goals. I know he spent some time at the stoppages. Hasn't been his day in terms of mass possession rate. But if you want to show a clip to some young blokes not to give up, Hawthorn were out, but he chose to stay at the ball, not dropping off and just allowing the kick to be, or the play to run the football. He smothered it beautifully and then retrieved it. And of course, his power from there is his speed and his football nous, and was able to finish it off beautifully.
Carlton leading by a couple of points in the opening, at quarter time in fact, in that match out west. Back here, Hawthorn by 34, did lead by 64. They get a free kick out of the middle, under 50. Nankervis, he didn't give it to Warple quickly enough. The umpire thought it was pretty obvious, and he will be marched to 35 metres out directly in front. James Warple to kick for goal.
It's a shame for Tigers there. They've worked so hard to get, I don't say back in the game, but make it respectable and, you know, show that they're not, like from quarter time on, that they can be perhaps a better side, but this is just really a give me.
They're winning this quarter, Mick, 2-1 at the moment.
They won the other quarter, second quarter.
Warple comes in, easy set shot, and finishes for his second. A stabilising goal for the Hawks. 14-10-94 plays 8-6-54, 40 points the margin. 25 minutes into the third, Mick Malthouse.
Well, I'd like to be able to say you can't take the first quarter out, but it's been an interesting half of football, second and third quarter thus far. It's not long; it's only 2.5 minutes to go. The Tigers, I think, clearly haven't got the personnel that the Hawks have got, and that's when you analyse where the Hawks have come from. You might say that they're roughly even, but the Hawks certainly have developed this group together pretty well. They're well led. They've got forwards, a lot of forwards who can kick goals. I think we've worked it out in the first half. They had 9 goal kickers. But the Tigers have hung in there, and they've hung in there because of their contested football and these stoppages where they've just been able to work hard and make the most of every ball that comes their way.
Bolton will get a clearance for them here. To that extent, kicks inside the forward 50 for Richmond. Sicily's back there, shares the handball with Scrimshaw. To Eamon, who was backpedaling and able to regain his balance in a flash, spin the hips and move things forward to Moore, who almost missed his hand with the handball. It was just a ball. Little one from Taranto out wide, went looking for McIntosh. Frost is dragged in underneath it. And we'll have a ball up underneath the Shane Warne stand, out of sight of the ground. Hawks by 40 points, 26 minutes gone, third term. It's been a little bit messy since quarter time in parts for the Hawks.
Up it goes, tapping it down Nankervis, trying to come through Moore. Also getting involved is Big Me, kick around level. He goes again with the tackle. It spits out to Watson. Hawthorn in possession. Handball back to D'Ambrosio. Waits a kick neatly down the wing. Mark taken by Moore. Ball to play on. Gets around his man. Now stabs it short. Nash marks. Between wing and half forward here for the Hawks. The Irishman will look long. Towards full forward. Kelshadier goes up. Punched away. Watson front and square. Snaps on goal. Tumbles it through. A pair for Watson. And the Hawks back out by 46. They bring up the ton. 15-10-100. Plays 8-6-54. 27 minutes into the third. Sunday footy on ABC Sport.
Yeah, 10 inside 50s each. For 3 goals for the Hawks, 2 goals, 1 Richmond. The difference is, and it is that bit of class. Watson's a class player. He's only a young player. He really had. No one's really found out about him yet, and they'll work out what sort of way he plays. He has to work through that. But right now, he's such a dangerous player. But this is a bit of Hawthorn that we've seen over the last 10 to 12 weeks. Don't muck around with the outside. Get the ball quickly into your back line when the back line the other opposition haven't a chance to settle. And when the ball hasn't been able to settle, or the team haven't been able to settle, guess what? It becomes a chaos ball and it's easier to score.
Back in the middle, and D'Ambrosio's in off the wing as Curvis kept it rolling around in the centre of the ground.
Because Joel, everyone's going 6-6-6, so there's no man behind play. No one's trying to set up and stop the play or protect leads.
And one's across the park at the moment. Warple handball out wide to D'Ambrosio. Now to McDonald. Back to Warple. Smashes his kick up toward half forward. Bruce made good position. Used the body beautifully on Floston and nudge him under it. Take the mark back with the flight. Kicks now to the pocket. Dia creates some separation. Marks deep in the left forward pocket. 30 metres from home.
Yeah, don't worry about how good Bruce is. There's 12, 14 years of experience with that kick. Got it, played on straight away, found Deer leading, hardly at the move, really take that mark.
Career best 3 last week for Kalsha. To equal that, spins, snaps, and sprays it out to the right. Margin 47 points the way of the Hawks, 29 gone, third term.
0437 774 774 if you wish to get involved. We'll keep you updated with the other game that is going on at the moment as well. The West Coast Eagles and Carlton. Carlton leading by 8. In the back pocket, Vloston sends it long up towards the wing. Crashing in Kaczynski, can't take the mark. And the siren goes for three-quarter time. And for Hawthorn, the goal kickers, Gunston with 3, 2 to Warple, 2 to Moore, 2 to Watson, 2 for Deer, singles to Newcomb, to Amon, to Chol, Mackenzie as well. While for Richmond, 3 goals to Bolton, 2 to Bolter and Mansell, and then a single, a very impressive goal to Hugo Ralphsmith. The story of the day is for Hawthorn, not only the fact that they are winning by 47 points, but the injury to Will Day. So a collarbone injury in the opening quarter. How severe will that be? Will we see him again in this season as the Hawks make a run towards the finals? They're in the 8 at the moment and trying to improve their percentage. Let's pause and we'll come back with the thoughts of Mick Malthouse. This is Sunday Footy on ABC Sport.
Time to steady and pull the trigger!
Have you heard the latest AFL podcast from the ABC? Join myself, Catherine Murphy, and AFL legend Paul Roos as we discuss all the big storylines. Feed your footy obsession or just learn more about the game as we bring you all the latest news and analysis. Find the ABC AFL Daily Podcast on the ABC Listen app.
This is ABC Sports coverage of the 2024 AFL season. Every match on the ABC Listen app.
Look for the AFL button.
Here's Hardwick, his kick run down by Bolton, who speeds away into an open goal and kicks his third.
It's the overall effort that you want, and there's been an extremely good effort by the Tigers right now. So yes, both coaches would be different in their approach.
They get a free kick out of the middle under 50. Nankervis, he didn't give it to Warple quickly enough. The umpire thought it was pretty obvious.
It's a shame for the Tigers there. They've worked so hard to get, let's say, back in the game.
Warple comes in, easy set shot, and finishes for his second. A stabilising goal for the Hawks. Towards full forward, Kelshadier goes up, punched away. Watson, front and square, snaps on goal, tumbles it through. A pair for Watson, and the Hawks back out by 46.
The 2024 AFL Premiership season.
On your radio,
ABC Sport Digital.
and on the ABC Listen app.
Great to have you with us. It is, well, day turning tonight at the MCG, Cathedral to Football. Jim from Limerick in Ireland says, go the Hawks. He's listening in from over there. Mick Malthouse, the Coaching Games record holder, is our expert on Sunday Footy on ABC Sport. Mick, how did we arrive at three-quarter time?
I don't know, but I know several years ago I arrived in Limerick with the Australian side, and we played the Irish team. Had a terrific week.
Good junket, trip.
Well, it was a good trip. Don't forget these boys were on holiday, so therefore I was able to coach them with restrictions because I didn't want to empower everything on them to say that they must be under my control all day, Benny. So they enjoyed a little bit of Limerick. Is Limerick Stab City? I think it is. I think it's the old nickname is Stab City. So I was a bit concerned about my players running around.
Sounds pleasant.
Yeah, I know. So he might get back to us and tell us whether that's the nickname of Limerick.
I hope he does get back to us.
And from there we went to Dublin and played. So anyway, this game here, it's interesting. 9-3. The Hawks are now 15-11. 1-1, and the Tigers are 8-6. So there hasn't been a lot of difference, but there's been a lot of... There's not a lot of difference on the scoreline, but there's been a lot of difference in the way the game's played. The Tigers certainly got their hands dirty. Hawks haven't backed off. I don't think they've backed off, but I do think, though, that there's, in their mind, they would be... They're a young side that, for all intents and purposes, 10 weeks ago, 8 weeks ago perhaps, this position where they find themselves would have been the last thing on their mind. In fact, I remember listening to players being interviewed saying, well, we're setting ourselves up, we want to learn as much as we can. All of a sudden, they're going to be learning a lot because they got 30 minutes of football, 20 genuine minutes of football before next week. A lot might depend on what's happening in Western Australia as we speak. I have a feeling that by the end of the day, the Hawks know that to get through, they just need to get through this quarter and next week. And I don't care who you are, what you are. There's a human element to this that says, I want to be part of it. Some players will be going, well, I might be on the cusp here. I've really got to go hard. Others will be thinking, I've got to go
neutral.
I've got to get through the game without embarrassing the football club. The Tigers, it's been a dismal year. No matter which way you cut it, they had one great win against the leaders in Sydney. They've won one other game, and they find themselves today trailing by 9 goals or thereabout, 8 goals at quarter time. But they've been able to rally. The coach is holding them in a bit longer now, and I'm sure they're saying, keep the efforts up. There's probably no chance of victory, but you find a lot about people. You find a heck of a lot about people under duress and under pressure, and whether they just turn their toes up or they keep having a crack. There's no harm. And if you cut the quarter down to 20 minutes, not the 30 we see, that's time on. The 20 minutes, I don't know, Ben, if you've ever done the exercise, how often and how long you hold the ball as a footballer in your hands, it's lucky to be 2 or 3 minutes for the whole game, at the most.
I'm going to ask if I've ever done any exercise, Mick, which the answer might be no. But yeah, you don't have much of the footy, do you?
So why not go for it for this 20 minutes?
Restart in the middle, final quarter underway. Hawthorn leading by 47 points. Ross gets it at ground level, handball away to McIntosh, tumbles it to half forward, unable to mark Scrimshaw, goes again at ground level, gets it out to Amon. His handball too hot for Nash. Ginnivan gathers, off to Warple, back to Nash, bursting the Hawks through the middle. Meek, handball away to McDonald, chaining handballs. McDonald from 50, misses to the right. It was like a wave there for the Hawks. 48 points they lead by, 32 seconds into this final term.
A pick up in the middle of the ground from Lloyd Meek was pretty nice for a man of his stature.
Is he keeping Reeves out of the side? Is Reeves available? Because it's a big job.
Well, he has for most of the year. I'm not sure whether Reeves is injured at the moment. I'll check that for you, Mick.
Because he's a very good footballer, Reeves. So if he's out of the side, there's a ruckman that someone who hasn't got a ruckman that you'd be chasing every day of the week. He's got to reach like a sick dog. He's that tall.
McIntosh kicks down the line straight to Sicily, who intercepts for the Hawks. They're checking downstairs with Loz.
Just a quick trip for Jack Scrimshaw down into the rooms. It looked like he had a dislocated finger and also some blood on his pinky finger.
Well, that could be a fracture if it's got blood there.
Here's Eamon, who kicks inside the forward 50. Watson's buzzing around with some real intent as he collects on the move, gets onto his left and kicks his third. Nick Watson with an equal career high. And the Hawks back out by 54. 16-12, 108 to 8-6-54. Minute and a half gone in the final term, and injury news from the Hawks isn't what they need, Nick.
No, look, we'll get Lauren to talk about this, but if you've got blood on your hand from a dislocation, that could be a compound fracture. I'm not going to jump to conclusions here. It could be he wiped his nose, it might be a blood nose.
Similar to Dante Exum recently for the Boomers at the Olympics.
Well, it happens. You know, they do, and they're not a pleasant injury. You can still play with them, but they're not pleasant. Let's go to that goal. Nick Watson. He's all and what Charlie Cameron isn't at the moment. He's kicking goals. He's a live wire. He touched one touch player. That was just one touch. Wheeled around, kicked it on his left foot. Beautifully done. He is a real genuine danger to any back line.
Reeves is on the injury list at the moment with a back issue, Mick, listed as a test for this week, but have been points of the season that Meek has kept him out of the side. Hawthorn away down the wing again. Newcomb giving it off to Gunston. He kicks long and high inside 50. Moore trying to rove. Watson trying to rove. Towards the boundary line it goes. Moore turns tackler and holds it up. Ball upcoming. Right forward pocket here for the Hawks. They lead by 54 points 3 minutes into the fourth.
Got a good setup outside the Hawks too, so if this comes out quickly, it'll go straight to a Hawthorn player.
Comes out to Nash, hard up against the boundary line, hooks the kick over his shoulder, top of the goal square. Deer is up, it's whacked back into Richmond hands. Graham can exit, but not for long. D'Ambrosio marks, immediately attacks for the Hawks, kicks deep forward. And Nankervis is back there. He just pulls it into his knee to give it some stability as he takes the mark. He's got a deep in defensive 50 for the Tigers. Chip to the back pocket. Yep. Lauren downstairs.
You could be right, Mick, that it's more than a dislocation. The doctor was chatting to Sam Mitchell for a few minutes after coming up from the room. Scrimshaw's still down there, but I'd assume you're not going to be chatting to the club coach about a dislocated finger.
No, you're not. It's whether they want to risk. Can they get through with three players easily on the bench and just lower your workload of other players around the ball is quickly interchange them through the forward line so that you're not then cluttering up your bench, and if there's any danger on him, leave him off. You've got bigger fish to fry than this one.
Hawks by 54 points. They break up Richmond's exit beyond defensive 50, force a throw in it comes. Meek misses it out the back. Ginnivan toe pokes it inside 50, picks it up, handball out to Nash, handball away to Newcomb in the pocket, left foot shot on goal is across the face, misses wide right, through for a minor score though. Hawthorn by 55 points.
It's living in that forward line there, Benny. It's only a matter of time if Tigers have got to clear this ball and get it past the wing on their terms.
Long kick out toward McIntosh. Almost got it out there, but McDonald runs interference. Now a handball off to Impey. Striding up toward forward 50. Kicks inside the arc. Deer goes upstairs. Can't mark. Spills to Moore. Handball to Nash. Handball to Ginnivan. Arches the back. Rioli brings him down. Got the handball away though to Newcomb. 40 metres out from the Hawks goal. Warple's got a couple already. Flares his kick wide. McDonald's marked right on the numbers of the 50. He motions for some movement ahead of him. Sicily came toward the area. Now Eamon is trying to get involved, but the Richmond defence is aware of that. So McDonald from 55 metres out, pulls out the 9-iron, the set-up kick. Deer! Oh, got a big rise, couldn't pull it in. Newcomb offloads, Massimo D'Ambrosio on the left boot. Kicks out of bounds on the full. Stays at a 55-point spread, 5.5 gone, final turn.
Sunday footy here on ABC Sport. Great to have you with us. Richmond in the back pocket. Here through short. Dangerous kick, turnover. Trying to stab it to Banks. Watson bobs up. Marks in the left forward pocket. Nick Watson already has an equal career high of 3 majors. Trying to reach a new mark of 4. Arcs out. And hits the fat part of the footy, floats it across goal, and Scholes there, he takes it in the opposite pocket.
It's a short pass, Ben.
Goal assist.
Yeah. He's kicked it out to the players on his left side, so it makes it easier.
Mabior Chol having a career year playing against his old side today, one of his old sides. Time at the Gold Coast as well. He'll lark out onto the left. Nonchalant as always. He hits the fat part of the ball and kicks it out of bounds on the full, on the opposite side. Almost kicked a kick there between Watson and Scholl, but Hawthorn lead by 55 points, 7 minutes played in the fourth term. It's going to be a big win, but how much for the Hawks with finals? A key question.
Banks down the line. Kazitsky comes in and takes the mark. I've seen a lot of Jacob Kazitsky this afternoon, just his 7th disposal. Handball over the top to Nankervis. Oh, they've worked themselves into trouble here. Ross is run down by Nash. Ball spills over the boundary line in between the interchange gates.
Didn't express that very well. Percentage could play a role in the Hawks making it through to the final, so they do need to finish off here, Mick.
Oh, they do, Ben, but no, I don't think it'll get down to that. I disagree with that. If they win their games, their percentage is going to be incidental.
True. It's good enough to be on top of Carlton, that's for sure. Handball at the stoppage. Watson cuts it off as Richmond were trying to advance the footy. He has to cede 30 metres, just keeping the ball motioning forward as he paddled it and drove his legs, did Nick Watson. Back in Hawthorn hands now through Impey. The offload hand pass to D'Ambrosio, who cruises through the wing. Wafts the kick over the top and finds Bruce. There's 2 kicks from goal. Scholl's inside forward 50. So too is Deer and Gunston. Kicks to the edge of the arc. Marbior extends and takes the mark. Goes it inside the 50. Watson the target of the kick. Charging across was Trusais. His kick outside the defensive 50. He went looking for Bauer. Sicily's there as well. Bauer gets the handball forward to a vacant southern wing.
Here go the Tigers down the wing. Campbell picks it up, bursts away towards the attacking edge of the square. Kicks into the forward 50. Bolton gathers. He's dispossessed. Hardwick comes up with it. Handball away to Warple. Loops it back towards Frost. Frost kicks the Hawks up towards the wing. Trezise comes across, punches it out, throwing on the wing. It's not totally out of it, Mick, because if the Hawks and Carlton both win their last 2 games, but Carlton can make up the 1.1% percentage, they would technically go above Hawthorn.
I'm only saying that on the back of. Yeah, okay. So, just looking at Fremantle, that's all.
Yeah, I mean, they may well be in there if they can just win their last 2 games, but percentage could come into it. Lots of machinations.
Who knows? The Dockers already had 1 draw this season.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be a way to end the season? The Dockers had a draw and they're all around that same percentage mark at just in the lower end of the 110s.
Yep.
Of course, they got Port Adelaide out in the West next week, so who knows in this wild AFL season. Impey with the footy at half forward for Hawthorn. Drives it inside the 50 and Kalshadia attacks it like a man possessed and pulls it out of the sky. And he will go back and have a set shot from 35 metres out on a 45-degree angle to the left. That is an impressive, imposing mark. They found one in this father-son prospect of the Hawks. 40-metre kick for Kalshadia. Not even going to score in the end. Scholl takes an awkward tumble over the top of the pack and Jacob Blight's pulled it in against the left hand behind post.
He would have got a few points of that dance, wouldn't he?
Blight trying to chip it short. You mean breakdance, Mick?
Yeah. Well,
you're getting into the breaking.
Oh, yeah.
The Olympics.
Yeah, really right into it. That's 50. You cannot move on the mark. Let's just change that rule.
Breakdancing name, I wonder, as Blight kicks long up towards the wing. Up he goes, Ralph Smith. Good mark.
Love the way he's gone about it.
He's tried hard all afternoon, gives it off by hand to Banks.
Oh, Banks, awkward little hand pass to Hopper, put him under pressure, just got the kick away. Umpire had the whistle to his mouth, didn't blow it as he saw the ball hit his boot. Banks picks it up, tackled by Weddle and Morrison. Ball up.
Wow. I encourage, I'd love to see players play on, but they've got to play on for the team to benefit from it, not just because there's a hand pass there.
Taranto at the stoppage, kicks into the centre of the ground, front on contact against McDonald to McIntosh, who will take it from the top just inside the centre square. Wobbles a kick inside the forward 50. Kazitsky goes with one hand, can't mark, burning onto it is Campbell in the left forward pocket. Hardwick comes away with it, hand pass to Moore, Hawks can clear.
Moore chips it around the boundary line, bouncing ball tumbles out. And a throw-in on the wing, Lauren Borden.
Jack Scrimshaw's come back up onto the rooms. He won't play in the game again, though. He's just putting his warm-up jumper on. It's the pinky on his left hand. It's bandaged up in quite heavy strapping. So he's come up from the room. He swore when he came back to the bench. So it's, more than a dislocation. It's not great news for him.
So yeah, okay.
Was stopping on Scrimshaw. Bit of money in the swear jar after cursing on his way back up. It was paid deliberate from the exiting kick. Richmond came infield short to Graham, and then he got a 50. So a shot on goal with a man they call Fridge. From 30 out, he duly slots it. Back to 49 points. Hawthorn's lead, 16-13, 109, plays 9-6-60. 12 minutes played in the fourth. Sunday footy on ABC Sport. Mick Malthouse is our expert.
Well, I've got 10, 11 minutes to pick 3 votes. 2 votes and 1 vote, Ben, and quite frankly, it worries me. I'm trying to dissect 4 quarters of football, and it's all over the shop. With the consistency level has sort of been up and down by most players. Newcomb's been reasonably consistent, as has Amon. Ambrosio's been okay. Scrimshaw until he got injured. But you have a look at the Tigers. Vlosten has been steady. Presti has been really steady, but hasn't had a lot of as much as a midfielder should get, but been good. Gunston's kicked his goal, so right now, Tigers are giving the ball straight back to the opposition.
It's a wide open electoral race in the mind of Mick Malthouse. Rioli comes bursting off half-back after Hawthorn generated a chance from the stoppage. Hand pass to Banks, hand pass to Ross. Ross feigns inside of Morrison, kicks a long ball to full forward. Bauer goes upstairs again. Literally got the hit that time. He turned his body and was able to get on top of the pack, but couldn't pull in the mark. It's rushed through for a minor score. 8 straight kicks is the spread, 109-61. 13.5 gone final quarter.
Carlton leading by 25 points against the West Coast Eagles. Bit of a surprise there.
He's made a big difference, McIntosh, since he's come on. I'm just looking at this game here, Benny. I really like the way he goes about it, McIntosh. He's a bit untidy. You know, the no hair doesn't help, but makes him look like he's about 90. But
it makes him look unfashionable, Mick.
Well, no. They think it's all fashion at this stage.
Richmond win it back in the middle. Vlosten onto the loose footy. Shorts it to McIntosh. Oh, he drops a simple chest mark here. Time to recover. He can stop the best of the Mick. He kicks to half forward.
Oh, he can.
And Frost marks.
That was unfashionable.
Yeah.
From Camden McIntosh.
Frost has been a revelation really for Hawthorn, because it's freed up Sicily to be able to play the game he wants to play Sicily.
McDonald to Newcomb inside 50 to Chol, who turned it over straight to James Tresize as he tried to kick toward half forward. He had 2 Hawks to pick from and he split them, Deer and Ginnivan. Then kicked it straight to Tresize. Then Curvis's exiting kick straight to Carl Amon. Ginnivan wants it in the pocket. Amon drops it inside the 50. Moore goes up against Nankervis. Can't take the mark. Graham's in there. He's grabbed by Moore. We'll have a ball up inside forward 50 for the Hawks.
Yeah, Joel, what do I say about Ruckman short passing?
Yeah, no good.
No, don't take it right out of your bag. That's not exactly the way you want to go.
Hawks by 49. Ross emerging with the football for Richmond. Kicks towards the centre of the ground. Overshoots Kaczynski. Follows up. Just hacks it off the deck towards half forward. Doing well, Hardwick. Keeps it in front of himself for Hawthorn. Had to, otherwise Bolton would have been out the back. Gets it onto McDonald. He tries to retrieve the kick, but Bauer bobs up. Knocks it to his own advantage. Richmond in possession inside 50. Bolton gathers. Hard up against the boundary line. Hooks his kick. Bolter's back there. And punched away Weddle on the last line, and a throw in to come left forward pocket. Hawks by 48. Quarter hour mark of the final term. Sunday footy on ABC Sport.
Saw something you would have really enjoyed yesterday, Mick, which was a ruckman taking a mark and then trying to play on around the player on the mark.
Oh, that would have worked.
How do you reckon that ended?
Yeah, well, I think...
Free kick holding the ball.
Yeah, well, I wonder why. It doesn't matter what level that is, does it?
No, and that was up in the bush.
Yeah.
And they still do it at the top level. Here's Weddle just cruising outside defensive 50. Kicks long toward Watson, who got a hand in on the contest. Tigers are back in possession though. Nankervis, handball to Broad, handball to Vlosten under pressure. Watson's there, Ginnivan's there. And Vlosten's good enough to spin out of the tackle of both of them. Links up with Broad. Now on to Ross. Richmond toward half forward. Rioli steps one way, gets around Weddle, guides his pass inside the forward 50. And it goes over the heads of Hardwick and Bolton and onto the chest of Jai Newcombe in defence for the Hawks. They lead by 48 points, Hawthorn, having led by 50 at quarter time, 16 gone the last.
Newcombe trying to switch it out towards the members' wing, gave it a little too much hang time, but it sits for D'Ambrosio. Comes away with it for the Hawks. Short kick to Chol. Forward of the wing, steps his man, gets around him. Now he'll run away with it. Chol sweeps the handball. Eamon crosses the arc of 50, goes short to Watson. Beautiful delivery. Silver service. Watson's got it. 20 out, slight angle.
He can make a big impression in September. He's a kid that likes a big stage. And I'm talking about Watson here.
He's not scared.
Yeah, love players that just crave that big stage. Finals football is big.
It's going to snap around the corner here, Mick, rather than go with the drop punt. Looking at four for the first time in AFL footy, hits the post.
Yeah, he hasn't had a lot of possessions, but he's so dangerous.
Hawks by 49, 17 minutes played, fourth term, Sunday footy on ABC.
Yeah, he's had 7 and 4, 3 goals.
He just doesn't need a lot to make an impact. He's always been the same. An awkward fall for Nash in the middle of the ground. In fact, it's Newcombe who got dragged down. Kick up toward half forward for the Tigers. Hardwick fights for it, so too Morrison. Good contributor in game 100. Frost just slaps it inside the defensive 50 where it's picked up by Warple. Newcomb's now in the hands of the trainers in the middle of the ground. Hawks across the back 50 here. McDonald's got to be clever. McIntosh was better. Comes away with it for Richmond. Handball inside the forward 50. Ends up with Campbell. Left forward pocket. Spins on a dime. Snap toward goal across the face. Through for a minor score. The margin back to that 48-point spread.
I can tell you right now that Sam Mitchell will be sitting up there thinking, I've got to go to the office next door and push that button and finish the game. So many of my blokes are getting hurt in the last 10 minutes of the game. It's the last thing you need. I know I've said it before, and that's why right now there will be a want for the game to finish.
Hardwick goes long, it clears the pack, and out the back, Watson onto it for the Hawks, gets rid of it to Newcombe. He goes long, Gunston back leading marks in the forward pocket, and he'll get 50 as well, just for good measure. So Gunston will boot his fourth and make it 11 goals in 3 weeks. He'll play finals again in Hawthorn colours. The Hawks leading by 54 points, 17-14, 116. Plays 9-8-62, 19 played in the fourth. A crowd of 58,231. And Mick, you do get a great sense of the hierarchy as the club sees it at a football club in the fourth quarter when they put their best players on the bench in a game like this ahead of finals.
Well, you do. And I'd be... when you've got a couple of players that are a little bit sore and you've got another week to go, I've said it before, it's this preservation thing. You've got to be careful then that you don't expose players to a longer term. Now, there's only 5 or 6 minutes left, so players easily should get through 6 minutes of football, but you really do want to protect as many as you can.
Back in the middle from the restart, and then Curvis and Meek lock up. Hawks come away with it through Warple. Kicks to full forward. Or Blight came out. His hands were made of concrete. He just bashed the ball back into the traffic. Free kick in the contest. In fact, it's a ball up. It got caught under the pack. Blight attacked it with some real pace, but no touch in his hands. Meek just bashes it forward. Here is Blight again. Pushed off it by Watson. Sneaking, trying to get that fourth goal. Luke Bruce went into hurdle mode. Jumped across a body inside the defensive 50. Kick is scrambled out of there by Graham. Intelligently knocked on by D'Ambrosio to Sicily at left half forward. Sicily winds up, unleashes an absolute bomb to full forward. The mark is paid to Gunston. Right on the behind line. 4 already to the veteran. Deep in the left forward pocket. Jack Gunston for a handful. And proving he continues to be a handful. 5 for Gunston. as the Hawks get it out to 60 points, the margin. 18-14, 122 to 9-8-62 of Richmond. 21 gone, final term. Sunday footy on ABC Sport.
Yeah, thankfully he's kicked that, because that makes my votes a bit easier. It's almost been shuffled into the. We've had our go, we've had our chance, we've shown a bit of resistance. Now it's just tumbling away. Hawks are just doing what they want to do. It's unfortunate though. What the Tigers kicked 1 goal this quarter to 3, but shots on goal, 12 in the first quarter, 6 in the second, 8 in the third, and plenty in the last. So it's been a pretty consistent performance. It may not show that you've dominated like you did in the first quarter, but nonetheless, it's been very, very impressive.
Mixed man Camden McIntosh receives it coming in off the wing, then gives it to Nankervis, the big ruck. He's wrapped up, ball up.
It's another thing you do, Benny, don't hand pass it. He's had 2 choices, kick it or hand pass it. Chose the wrong one.
Borrow a line from Dennis Cometti. He took the third of 2 options, Mick, as Prestia goes out of the middle, stubs his toe on the kick, it dribbles 5 metres inside 50, picking it up Seth Campbell, gives it to Hopper, time to steady, balk, snap and goal. Richmond bring it back to 54 points. 18-14, 122, plays 10-8-68, 23 minutes into the fourth. Sunday footy on ABC Sport.
I sometimes wonder about Hopper, Taranto, for coming to the football club as genuine midfielders, and probably there when Martin was at his best, Cochin and so forth, they haven't really taken over the mids. Taranto's had 18, kicked 1 point. Hopper's he's had 17, kicked 1 goal, 1. Prestia's had 21, tried his guts out, but nonetheless, they haven't really dominated like I think they probably wanted to, or Richmond probably wanted to.
And for the price they paid as well. Let's go downstairs to Lauren Borden.
Just quickly on Jai Newcombe, he came off getting his back rubbed down, so a little bit of an issue with the lower back for Jai Newcombe.
He copped a knee in that contest in the middle of the ground.
It's tough as too.
He's built of hard stuff. Entry inside the forward 50 for the Hawks is cut off by Flostone, who's played a really good game in defence for the Tigers. He's had plenty of work to do back there. Light with a low exiting kick. Here's McIntosh. Activated substitute with Coulthard coming out of the game in that third term. Whacks a long kick down the line, the West Australian. Off hands, out toward Amon. Bolter coming back the other way with some aggression. Picked up by Weddle at half-back for Hawthorn. Scoops the handball out wide to Sicily, who's shoved across the boundary line by Bauer. And it will be tossed back in. Left half forward for Richmond, attacking to the city end here in this final term. 18-14, 122 to 10-8-68. It could have been so much more for Hawthorn. 9 of their 18 goals, half of their majors came in an opening term blitz after the Tigers kicked the first of the game.
Thrown in on the wing, ball spits out the side onto it McIntosh, handball away to Rioli, gives it to Short by hand, off to Ross, off a step, kicks inside 50, massive fly Bolton, couldn't bring it down, very nearly reeled it in, got upstairs and Hardwick just gathers off the side of the pack, goes short and McDonald accepts it. 54 points Hawthorn's lead. As it stands at the moment, the live ladder, Carlton, who lead by 35 points over the West Coast Eagles, 31 points over the Eagles, are in the 8, as are Hawthorn. Fremantle are outside the 8 at the moment.
They're doing it with a makeshift forward line, the Blues. Brodie Kemp's kicked 2 goals of all players, having applied most of his trade down back over the last couple of seasons. Moore accepts it from D'Ambrosio, and then Moore definitely lobs the kick over the top into the path of D'Ambrosio. Kicks to the edge of the 50. Ginnivan stretches, had it pulled from his grasp. No free kick. Watson puts it back into dispute for the Hawks. Keeps it moving. Ginnivan gives it to Bruce in the forward pocket. The handball back to Ginnivan was superb. The snap not so. It's away to the right. They fashioned something out of nothing there, the Hawks, but couldn't quite get the finish. And they lead 123 to 68 at the 26-minute mark of the last.
Short with the kick in, just pokes it to Miller. He'll get it back by hand, running by, goes short again to Ross. Gets it for a third time. Short's kick, knocked down now by Newcombe. Gathers the footy, loses it, worried out of it by Hopper. Ball spits into the middle, free kick. He was just impeded there, Newcombe. Hopper held on. Free kick to the Nuke in the middle. Hawthorn by 55 points. Going to have their season in their keeping. Winning the final round and they'll play finals. Long kick to full forward, punched away by Miller. Good size on the punch as well, knocks it through. Minor score. Hawks lead by 57. We're about 2 minutes away from the final siren at the MCG. In the penultimate game of the penultimate round, round 23 of the AFL season.
Heading divergent paths, these two teams, aren't they? The Hawks towards September and Richmond toward maybe the most interesting off-season of any team in the competition as Hopper kicks inside the forward 50 and Hardwick cuts it off. They're going to have so much draft capital. They've got players who are potentially assessing their options elsewhere. What can they get for that? And then how can they use that in an absolutely stacked 2024 draft? Sicily with 2 bounces down the southern side, just cruising forward and finds Deer unmarked in the right forward pocket. Kel Shadir on the end of another Hawthorn attacking chain. He's got a kick of 25 metres, 5 in from the boundary line.
That's happened because Shea Bolton didn't contest that football with Hardwick. He contests that, ball comes to the ground, but because he allowed such an easy mark by Hardwick, then gets it across to Sicily. Sicily knows he's got more pace than his opponent, runs in the ground. Hawks are having another shot.
So Kel Shadir, he'll go the drop punt from the right forward pocket and strikes it perfectly. An equal career best, third for a second time in 2 weeks for Kel Shadir. And Hawthorn's lead, 62 points, closing in on full time. 19-16, 130. Richmond 10-8, 68. 28 minutes gone in the final term.
9 goal kickers, multiple goal kickers. I think we said 7 at quarter time, so they've added 2 to that. This is where you protect your ruck. When Chol goes into the ruck, is that Meek going forward? Chol's in the ruck anyway with
I think 40. Big Lloyd's on the bench down there.
Right, okay, so I don't know who's in the ruck. Well, I do know who's in the ruck. Chol's in the ruck and 40 seconds left. This will be a self-preservation episode, the next couple of seconds.
He just runs into Kazitsky, doesn't really leap Mubby or Chol, manages to bring it down though. Hawthorn gather through Newcomb, off to Warple. Low ball inside 50, low down. Clever mark, Bruce. That's exactly what he does. Wily vet. Directly in front, 40 out, he'll go back to try and kick the Hawks to their highest score of the season. And what would be their highest winning margin, behind only their win over Carlton last week. In good form, Bruce on the set shot. His drop punt is just away to the left. And so they lead by 63 points. They'll win by that margin. The Hawks season is still on their boot. Winning in next week for the Hawks.
Happy team at Hawthorn, where the mighty fighting Hawks. We love our club and we play to win. Riding the bumps with a grin at Hawthorn. Come what may, you'll find us striving. Teamwork is the thing that talks. One for all and all for one, the way we play at Hawthorn. We are the mighty, mighty Hawks.
So the goal kickers, they had 3 that had 3. Gunston, Watson and Deer. 2 that had a couple, that was Warple and Moore. Then singles to Newcomb, to Amon, to Chol and McKenzie. So 9 individual goal kickers, while for Richmond 3 to Bolton, 2 to Mansell and Bolter. Singles to Ralph Smith, Hopper and Jack Graham. It is their second highest score of the season. They are in the 8, and if they can win next week, they will play finals after their zip and 5 start to this season.
We're a happy team at Hawthorn. We're the mighty fighting Hawks. We love our club and we play to win. Riding the bumps with a grin at Hawthorn. Come what may, you'll find us striving. Teamwork is the thing that talks. One for all and all for one's the way we play at Hawthorn. We are the mighty fighting Hawks.
So Hawthorn win by 63 points. Now there is still the slightly concerning issue around Carlton's percentage. So we are watching the game between Carlton and the West Coast Eagles. Carlton lead by 31 points in the third quarter there. So they could technically go past Hawthorn on percentage, but it does look like Hawthorn will have a role to play if they win next week in finals, given Fremantle would be outside the 8. Hawthorn would have 52 points on the season. Carlton would get to 52. So if they win next week, they will be in, like I said, on the siren. Mick Malthouse, how did you see it?
Well, Benny, I'm just looking over your shoulder, look at those scores. That game's nowhere near finished yet, so we don't know, of course. I don't think the Hawks... I wouldn't have thought they've come here for a percentage boost. They know that they've got a side on their knees anyway, so what comes. It's more about the process in trying to get victory. The process was perfect. They hunted the football. Their contested football was much better than Richmond. Their clearance rate was around about even. They'll have to have a close look at that, 33 each. The inside 50s, that's a dominant 65 to 41, although I've seen a final played last year that the side, I think it was Melbourne, had 65 and lost to Collingwood about 40-odd, so that can go haywire. But when you've got forwards that can capitalise, get the ball in there quickly, get the ball in there on their terms, then you're going to have 65 to 41 means it's a danger. Hawks had 36 shots on goal to 18, so they're doubling it there. Richmond, they're limping over the line. They are just wanting to get this season over, no question. I reckon even the coaches would be, it's my first full year or my first year. I want to. I'm quite happy to get the season over and done with, so I can see who's going to stay, what's going to happen. Hawks, they won't be worrying about who's coming and going. They've got a side now with Day probably missing, may miss any final. I say that because there's all sorts of things you can do with collarbones. It's such an even performance. Just looking at Bruce comes on and kicks. He only kicked a point, but he set up play. Deere didn't have a lot of possessions, but such a dangerous player. Kicks 3 goals. Watson has 12 possessions, kicks 3 goals. They had 9 goal kickers, 7 at quarter time. Okay, only added 2 onto that, but interesting enough, we got a 5 goal and 2 3 goals, but we got midfielders kicking goals, backline players not necessarily kicking goals, but getting the ball deep into players who were kicking goals. So that was a masterful performance, make no mistake about it. Full credit to the Tigers fighting back after quarter time, but take nothing away from a side that's been resurrected. Call them Lazarus, call them what you like. From round 5 onwards, when they were zipping 5, it's a remarkable performance. As we sit right now, they're in the 8.
They certainly are, and win next week and they'll have a role to play. They've taken their traditional selfie that they take after each of their wins, and it feels fitting. Like, selfies are something that belongs to the younger generation, and this is a young team. They are young, fun, and they're on a run at the moment.
What do they do with that shot? They go on...
Put it on social media, and
yeah.
They have an underrated social media team too, the Hawks, just quietly, as they...
You know people there?
No, I don't. I just think they do good work. I just enjoy it, appreciate it. I'm giving them a little nod of the cap on the way through.
I should never ask, are you all into social media? Of course you all are. I wouldn't have a clue how to turn it on.
I'm trying to...
Probably not a bad thing,
yeah,
in many respects.
If I could, I'm just winding it back a little bit, Mick, I am. But it is worth mentioning as well, at what cost today for the Hawks.
Exactly.
Will Day with that collarbone injury, whether we'll see him again this year.
So the best example I can find of that recently, and just digging around, was Jake Bowie had it for Melbourne this year, and
opening round.
Yeah, so he played opening round. He didn't play again until round 10.
No, but there's different scenarios.
Yeah.
Clean break, splintered.
Clean break, splintered, nature, or surgeon. How big's the plate? What pain can you take? It is the most broken bone in the human body.
Yep.
It's the easiest bone to break. I think it is anyway, because it's so exposed. You land on your elbow and it pops, the first thing to pop, or you cop a good shirt front, first thing pops. It's quite remarkable. I have seen players come back a lot quicker than 8 to 10 weeks. It's how you feel. One, how you feel. Can you take it with that What sort of game do you play? What sort of contact can you take? Is the surgeon quite happy for you? There'd be a Hawthorn surgeon out there that would be quite happy for him to play if he feels comfortable enough that the plate is sufficient to hold the bone in place the way it should be.
If it's borderline, would Will Day's age and his importance to this team going forward factor into that decision making?
I don't know. That's an interesting one. I would say this is how it works, Joel. Well, it certainly worked when I was coaching. The doctor had first and last say.
Yeah.
He comes in, he goes, he's open for selection. You go to the player, how do you feel? Oh, look, I don't think I'll get through. You're out. Or doctor says no more question. Don't matter what the player thinks. The doctor comes in and says he's okay to play. The player says I'm okay to play. Then it's up to you to go, you know what, I've got a player that's very similar. I'm not prepared to take the chance. Or you go, okay, yours. Dwayne Lamb, I think, missed one game with a broken arm, had put a plate in it, and he played. Different again. Broken forearm compared to collarbone is different. We understand that.
So the Hawks, supported by their fans, including Arnie Titmus, who's watched on from the stands, might have made her way down into the rooms, I dare say, Arnie, and might be in there with you, Loz, as you await the boys to arrive.
Thanks, Ben. I can't spot Arnie at the moment. She might be floating around here. It's absolutely packed in the Hawks room. They had basically a two-tiered wristband system. So one colour gets you to the front of the pack, so you can have front row seats to the circle and the song when the Hawks players come in, and then a second one for being at the back. But absolutely fans and family members are standing on the stairs at the back just under all the cricket scoreboards just to get a sight of these Hawthorn players. It's obviously so exciting for them to nearly be at finals, and how exciting are they to watch, whether you're a fan or not, really. Whether you're a neutral fan, you love going to see them play and watching them on TV, and if you're a fan, you'd be pretty happy with what you're seeing. And you can hear the cheers from an absolutely packed room as everyone walks in. The players look spent though. They're getting a slight high five, but haven't got much energy to spend hugging and high-fiving everyone, but I'm sure we'll hear the song with plenty of gusto as they keep their chance of playing finals alive. Just one more game to come against North Melbourne, but they're doing everything they can to make sure they'll play again in September as they hush up and get ready to sing the song. Everyone's pretty happy. There were smiles on every player's faces as they were singing the song, and you can just hear the cheers around of these Hawthorn players after their win.
Good job, Loz. We'll come back to you in a moment when you grab a quick interview before we wrap it up here on ABC Sport. They are letting the fans out on the ground have a kick. There's nothing better when you're a young kid than getting a run around on the MCG.
Saw a couple of kids at the footy yesterday, Benny, after a fair bit of rain. Not out there having a kick, but actually out there having a mud fight in the goal square. With a lot of mud in that part of the ground.
So they got plenty of rain, was this just recent rain, or was it quite wet up?
Yeah, no, it hosed it down on Friday night up in the northeast. So they had about 17 mil on Friday, and it's those grounds are pretty wet at the best of times. Yep. But it was the kids are running around, scooping up the mud and throwing at each other yesterday. So none of that out there on the MCG, which is good.
Just updating the match between Carlton and the West Coast Eagles as well. 6-9-45, Carlton lead the Eagles 2-2-14. So half-time in that match as it stands. And that means on the live ladder, Carlton are in the 8.
Paddy Cripps with 21 at half-time. George Hewitt's got 20 for the Blues. Brodie Kemp has 2 goals for Carlton.
Yeah, so Fremantle out of the 8 as it stands at the moment. Carlton and Hawthorn would be in it. So just running through it. Sydney top on 64, Port Adelaide and GWS both second and third on 60 points. Better percentage for Port Adelaide. Geelong fourth at the moment. Brisbane fifth after that loss to Collingwood yesterday. They should be in the 4. The Western Bulldogs sit 6th. Hawthorn in 7th. And then Fremantle currently 8th, but on the live ladder they are 9th with Carlton jumping above them. So the West Coast Eagles just keeping Freo out of the 8, Mick. as it stands at the moment?
Well, as we said before about that I've been trying to do my votes, looking down. I just looked up all of a sudden, and the ground is absolutely covered in people having those little kicks. I dare say there'll be a few smothers in there.
Maybe some of them incidental.
Oh, 90% of them incidental. The Blues win. They're in. It's Fremantle that'll be out. This will be the test now of, and I think Fremantle, from memory, I think that's the last game. So that and Port.
It's a big finish, won't it?
And this will be, how important is it for Port, because they can't fall out of the top 4, and how desperate are they compared to a side that knows if it wins, it'll be reliant, yes, on one of 3 sides winning against either Bulldogs, Hawks or Blues. And if they only need one slip up for one of those sides, which is probable, very probable, Freeman will go back in the 8.
Let's send it back down to the rooms. Lauren Borden has a guest with her.
Thanks, Ben. We love having Jarman Impey on ABC Sport, and it's great to have you after this win. Jarman, I guess you had 2 boxes to tick. You have today and then you have next week against North Melbourne. Is it nice to have this one sorted and now everything's in your hands to play finals?
Hello, my ABC crew.
Hey, Jarman.
Yeah, look, it's nice to get the win, obviously. Would have been nice. I think at times we weren't as skillful, but you get them, you can't go out there. It's AFL football. Richmond got quality, our quality side, and got quality teammates. So, it was good to get the win, and we're happy to tick that box.
And what about that start? I think it was 7 goals in 11 minutes. What was it like being on the field for that?
Yeah, that calmed the nerves, didn't it? It was a great start, so I'm happy we started well and we're able to finish.
And then you did mention probably in the second and third quarters, Richmond started to have their way with the footy a little bit more. What would you like to tidy up for next week and hopefully a little bit longer?
Yeah, I think Adam Uze was at the Hawks and knew he was at the Hawks, so they know how we like to play. They overloaded one side and were able to get easy territory on us. So we need to identify that and snap up the ground really well as defenders and as midfielders, and also as forwards to get up the ground so we don't allow that easy territory, 15-metre kicks. So, just a little tidy up, and I think late, just our skill execution. I think we could have kicked a couple of easy goals. We're happy to get that win.
A major concern, though, coming out of today is Will Day in the first quarter with a collarbone injury. Do you have any update on how he is?
Honestly, I don't. He looked really sore, and I absolutely love Daisy. He's a quality person and a quality player. He's so big for our side, so a bit of luck. Hopefully he can play next week, or see how he goes. Hopefully it's not that bad, but we absolutely love Daisy, and we just hope he hasn't had a too big of a hit on that.
Can you put into words the role he does play for this side? He came back in after missing the early part of the year, and it just seems like the team gelled a little bit more when he came in.
He's just a star. He's very tough inside, very skillful as well, and he just has good awareness. So he's able to draw 2 or 3 players to him, and then able to give it to the runners running past. So he's just a quality in the air, on the ground, and he's a quality leader on the field and off.
Some teams might be nervous that everything lies in one last game against North Melbourne. It looks like this Hawthorn side all smiles. They're enjoying the year that it's been. Is it just excitement that the side's feeling about next week?
Yeah, it is excitement. We just got to keep playing predictable football. I think that's what got us here, is we have high standards. We keep each other to high standards, and we play predictable football. So we just got to keep doing that, bring in the energy, and hopefully kick a lot of goals.
Well, Jarman, thanks for your time today, and all the best next week against North Melbourne.
Thank you so much. Good to chat to you all.
There is Lauren Borden with our favourite, Jarman Impey from the Hawthorn Football Club. We can wrap it up pretty quickly here, Mick. For one time this year, you are giving the votes. Don't forget to start with the 1 and build up to 3.
Well, before I even give the 3, I'm going to talk about Voston, who is probably really stiff, 427 metres, intercept marks. But he played on a side that lost by 10 goals, so it's very difficult to. I point him out because of his efforts. I hate giving votes because there's always is someone one time or three times better than someone else? No. Is the fourth player that misses out, should he miss out? That's my voting system when I was coaching. Ben was far more directed at giving consistency awards. But anyway, so we'll go one vote to Amon. I thought his ability to work the ball through the corridor for 548 metres, which is quite extraordinary. They really dominated that area of the ground. When the ball hit the deck, he was there. Contested possessions, he wasn't overly needed. It was more about the uncontested possessions where he was able to run onto them, use the ball well, kick the ball inside 55 times, and from that I suspect that the Hawks would have scored. It's hard to go past Gunston missing out on the three, but it was a great team effort. But he got his goals, 2 in the first quarter, 1 in the third and 2 in the last. You might say the game was over, but the 2 in the first quarter came at a crucial time, and I thought the third quarter, when Richmond they weren't going to win the game, but they were wrestling back a bit of control. He jumped up, took the ball, was able to score vital goals just to settle the nerves, and then the last quarter just finished it off. So very, very good. Newcombe was the best player on the ground. His contested possessions, 15 unbelievable, 9 clearances, inside 57 times, 425 metres. He
15 score involvements too.
Yeah, he's a player that it just gets the job done. There's no fanfare about him. He does the job. He knows what he has to do. He goes about and does it well. I would say he's one of the most impressive players when I see players around him get to him, just pat him on the back and just understand how important he is to the team. So,
Mick, I'd give you the 3 votes today. Great work from you as always.
Well, good on you, Benny.
Playing one out up in the forward 50.
Yeah, well, there you go.
2 for you, Joel, and I'm going to give Loz the 1.
At least sneak yourself in for the 1.
Cool Jules, our audio technician, he sits above the votes. He is the coolest man in all of radio and doing a great job as always. Big thank you to Aaron Bryans as well, back in the studio, doing an outstanding job as always, and brilliant call on the showdown last night. That was something to behold, no doubt about that. Okay, I think I've got everyone. I think we do. The score between Carlton and the West Coast Eagles. Carlton lead by 5 goals neat, 7-9, 51 place, 3-3, 21. Here it was Hawthorn winning by 63 points over Richmond. It does mean that they are in the 8, and it means that if they win next week, they are in the finals after that zip 5 start. On behalf of the whole team, Ben Cameron saying goodbye from the MCG after a Hawthorn win.